Hey everybody, we're here with the 2026.
Yeah, no, this should be a very exciting variant, Greg. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's get to some games. And well,
Hmm.
first let's take a look at the bracket. Sorry, I get excited ahead of myself. We've got a fun one here today. Some returning players from last year's championship, although we are missing the finalists. They were not able to get through the qualifiers. Atomic is pretty tough, so it's a loaded field anyways. We've got some of our returning players are Johan Fun, our first seed. He was third place last year, so he should be dangerous.
Yep, no, very exciting field as we see here, and it is a double elimination. So even if the players lose match, they will go down to the losers bracket, and they will have their chance to come back. But yeah, we're starting off in the winners quarterfinals. We had some issues getting started. We see Henry already has a 1-0 lead, but still lots and lots to play for.
Hmm.
All right. So if we get into the games, we see here that Johan won his game. Let's see what games are currently going on. I think it took a little while for the players to get ready.
Hmm.
So let's see what games we have.
Yep, I'm. Second. Let's get a game up here and take a look at some of. Got some scores already on the board. See some 1-0 leads from some of our favorites. One game, one match not started. All right, so we've got a nice position here for white. Good center, go and attack. Bit dangerous for black already, but that's always the case in Atomic. Now, there's a lot of openings where the engine will say that white is winning or doing better, but this is actually very hard to prove, especially in a lot of the mainline theory. Black is scoring completely well at the highest level. So I would not really rely on engine analysis in this variant.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a really interesting variant. We saw the move Queen C1 from white. I think maybe he had the idea to go for something like Bishop H6, and perhaps that's why Black played the move H7, H6 himself. And it's really funny in Atomic. For those of you who don't know how this game works, for example, if white would take this bishop on B4, then all of the squares adjacent to it would blow up. So the B4 square would blow up, the knight on A3 would blow up as well. And like, let's say if white were to take on H6, then uh, obviously the black pawn and the bishop disappear. And white has played this move G3. So Greg, what do you think that move is about? I mean, I would think bishop H3 perhaps, or yeah, what is white's idea
Yeah,
with this specific move?
yeah, absolutely. Trying to get the bishop in the game was is good, but also creating some space for the king. Should things start to open up on the queen side, the king wants to have no pieces by him. Um, Makes it harder to checkmate him, of course. Of course, pieces don't have to move. Okay, that's a bit. That's quite a move. I like what white
Hmm.
has cooking here, to be honest. Black has activity, but I wonder if he's going to grab space with a4, try to bring the bishop out, or if he can even maybe close up the center and then bring the bishop in on the light squares. I feel like those light squares are huge targets for white in this position, and we're going to want to maybe
Hmm.
try to get the white queen or bishop along those and those sink into the position here.
Yeah. You see that white is currently up a pawn. I mean, that's I mean, not a super big deal, especially because there's no increment and white's down a lot of time on the clock. I think that's probably a bit
Hmm.
bigger factor. Bishop H3 played. Now, what's really funny in Atomic is that very often you don't actually threaten to take pieces or pawns, right? Because as soon as you take it, it just blows up. So, for example, this pawn is not at all to be taken because then the rook just disappears from the board. Knight A6. I wonder where he's going. Okay, he goes kingside
Everything's
castles.
booby trapped, but yeah.
Hmm.
No, no, this is I like this for white. I like this for white a lot. I don't see the future for that knight yet, but maybe hmm, yeah, you want to get the queen in.
Uh-huh. Right. So yeah, I really like this on the board for white, but on the clock, I mean, white is down a lot of time. Although now black is also went into the tank. Um, it's I don't know what black should do here. He goes b5, maybe with the idea to go b4.
Trying to create lines of play. And white just shuts that right down. But I mean, you can still go
c5, yeah.
c5. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. So if white were to take, a
I
lot
don't
of
think he
pawns
wants.
disappear. So wait, now there's a lot of tension. Really hard to figure out what's going
Um,
on. But one thing I do see, once again, is
yeah.
that white is down on time, which is definitely a big factor.
Yes.
Okay.
And as that light diagonal opens up, I'm very worried for black. I guess queens come off, so should be less scary then. But
Mm-hmm. Okay, wait, it's black's move. Times are getting even now. Let's see what he's gonna do. Black's got to move here.
oh yeah, ticking down. Both players under 20 seconds. We already have one player who's won. I'm seeing that's crazy. That's a nice idea that we also need to look out for. Instead of taking material, you can put your piece next to theirs and create a threat. Like black had the threat of course, just queen g2 mate, forcing white to take and then giving the move back to black. This is something that's very thematic in this variant. Also, pawns don't need to be escorted up the board. So, ooh, yeah, we're just in race mode here. But yep,
Right.
can white be fast enough? White's fast enough.
Oh, wait, but
No, he's not.
oh, black won on time.
Wow.
Wow, what a game.
Wow. Ooh, what a comeback. That's lovely. All right. All right. Getting spicy here already. Catch the start of a
Hmm.
game, let's hope here. And we
Yeah,
already
no,
have
that.
one player that is through. Henry Michael, our winner of qualifier 4, has advanced with a 3-0 victory. So props to him. All right.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot more of players at the top go for these knight f3 d4 setups. Historically, there was a lot of knight f3 e3 played, but that doesn't seem to be what I've been seeing the most from the players in these qualifiers and lately. So I wonder what's evolving in there and what we're going to get to see here today.
Right, so I know there's some sort of theory, although. Wait, yeah. If you take the bishop, then your knight also disappears. And
This
then I
is
guess
super
after that,
thematic.
maybe white. Okay, bishop h6. Interesting move. If black
Hmm.
were to take,
Lines of
all of this blows up, and then maybe after that you move the
knight, yeah,
knight somewhere,
knight
followed by
g5,
a quick queen
knight g5,
h5.
yeah, or e5, yeah,
Right. Yeah, one
yeah.
thing, by the way, we should point out is that if captures happen, the adjacent pieces blow up, but not pawns, right?
Hmm. Only if pawns are capturing or being captured. Otherwise, they're immune to the
Yeah.
blast radius.
All right. Yep. Okay, so e5 was played. Okay, so white is down a piece, but black has played this very weakening move f6 that will always give white an opportunity to attack the black king. Now we see black has paused the thing, so let's see what he's gonna do.
Well,
Always
yeah,
difficult to
there's
play with
already a
black.
huge threat in the position with e takes d6, yeah, which removes the knight from the pin
Mm,
on the king and gives check. So there's a massive threat here for black to sort out. You can't like in normal chess, you'd be able to unpin with something like bishop d7 even, but you can't do that here because that would be in the blast radius, and again, both pieces would be removed. And you could take the bishop, but that further weakens the squares around the king when the knight also explodes at the cost of the pawn as well. So white is very happy with, I think, any of black's attempts here.
yep. Yeah, and we see here that let's see, this match between Johan and I think this one is still wait, no, there's a wait, who's leading in this one?
Johan is up to 0. So looking to clinch
Okay.
with the white pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Okay, so h6 was played. But that feels a little weakening.
it
Maybe now
does.
white's going to take on d6, remove the knight. I guess then black is
Yeah.
going to take that bishop. And then, I mean, the question is whether white has a good discovery with the knight to be able to bring the queen in, but I don't see it right away.
I think you can just bring the knight forward, and a lot of times with these weak squares, the knight is just going to plop itself right down and restrict the black pieces, even if it doesn't have an immediate threat of mate or you don't even have to take material if it's restricting everything. So yeah, g6 to prevent the knight from coming in, but Now queen f3 is going to be a big threat. Queen f6 can be replied, but then knight g3, now that there's a pawn on g3, removes the queen from f6. So queen f3 is going to be troublesome if allowed. You're not going to have the normal defenses with that pawn now on g6. Could be very troublesome for black. Yeah, so he's going to try bishop to f6 of queen f3. And then
Right.
after knight g6, he has queen f6.
Yep. And then in case of queen h5, I guess queen g6. Yeah, that is something that is very, or actually, we're just realizing in case of queen h5 in the line, there's queen takes f2, checkmate. But yeah,
Mhm.
that is one thing that is very unique about atomic chess. Like white played knight h4, trying to go knight
Mhm.
g6, and black goes g7, g6 himself, right? So he's allowing the move and putting a pawn
Mhm.
there. But as you pointed out, if white were to take, then his own knight blows up. So that's something that is very unique to atomic. That
Mhm.
actually often just placing pawns on squares to prevent other pieces from going there.
Yeah,
Ooh,
absolutely.
bishop c1, tricky move, threatening checkmate on one move. And
Very.
actually, what do we think about this? As that would open up the a file and threaten rook takes a2.
Yeah. Ooh, also very nasty. A4, and then get the king away from all pieces. But now you have some sacrificial ideas for white as well. He's going for knight e7 instead. Um, have to Hard to see how he wants to get in now. Actually, black has done well here. Very
But black
dangerous.
has
Very
no
dangerous.
time. He's down to 8
Yeah.
seconds. If white manages
Yeah.
to avoid losing the game, he should win this one on time.
Yeah. There's just not enough time here for black, I think. But yeah, because you're going to lift the rook in their swing, and if knight takes, then there's never any threats. I don't see anything to. So he's going to give check, and then what for black? Is there a follow up? Just try to bring the pawns in, but I don't think this is going to be enough. You can always lock the position, and then yeah, time.
All right, so
Tough,
nice
tough,
win
tough.
for Yo as he wins this one. Okay, so
Hmm.
with that, he wins the match, right?
Yeah, we have a couple players, or we have now another player who advanced as well. So, and then one player on the brink. Do we have any live games that we can jump in on right now?
Yeah, let's have a look. Um, wait, is this one? No. These players are not in our tournament.
No, we could give him a commentary anyways, but I
Yeah.
think we'll stick to the championship. We do have three players through now, so let's see if Hernandez can join them. I believe Hernandez is the I believe he's our 2019 Lee Chess World Champion for Atomic, so he's been around for a long time. Very dangerous player, very dangerous player. It's cool
Yeah.
to see him here.
Okay, nice win here by white to win another game. All right.
All right,
So,
all right. Let's once this game's done, let's take a look at the bracket.
mhm. Yep,
See
the
who's
bracket is
advanced.
shaping up. So we see here that Johan moved on to the next round, and so did Henry. And then in the other winner semifinal, we have Antonio against Andre. So those are going to be some fun winner semifinals.
Very heavyweight fights here. A lot of these guys who had extremely impressive performances in the qualifiers have been around a long time. We're in store for some very high level atomic chess.
Hmm. Yep. All right. So this should be a lot of fun. The next match is probably going to get underway any second now. And yeah, the players that lost, fortunately for them, they are not out of the event. They will have their chance to come back through the losers bracket.
Absolutely. I love that double elimination format. I think it adds a lot of richness to tournaments like this.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yep. All right. So I assume the games are going to be underway pretty soon from now on. We'll just have to wait for the
Absolutely. We're
players
going
to
to
get
be
ready.
right in. Yeah,
And
so I'm
oh,
pretty
yeah, so go
excited to
ahead.
catch some more games of Hernandez. I think Antonio's one of the longer standing guys that I'm aware of from this variant. So I'm very excited to catch some of his games in full. think he's definitely a contender to take the whole thing. So excited for this next round to start.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that should be a lot of fun. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, we're gonna and from the players that got knocked down to the losers bracket, is there anyone that you're looking at that you think like, hey, that player is definitely capable of making a comeback? Maybe he just got a tough pairing in the first round. Anyone that comes to mind?
Yeah, so of the players, I think the Julian Alexei matchup, the Neo Arcturus and the Lasha 2002, both of these players are very well established in the community, and Lesha actually was in our event last year as well, eventually falling to Universal Tsunami, who took second place in the event. So both of these players are experienced, they are longstanding, and I think whoever wins that matchup has pretty interesting odds to run the table and get back a second chance in the winner's bracket. That's the one I would have my eye
Wow.
on.
So we're off to another game. And what do you make of this opening? We see black just pushing up pawns. Now, once again, in normal chess, those would just hang pawns, but in atomic, you actually prevent you. I was going to say it prevents your opponent from going there, and here, h5 stops queen h5. Really interesting
Looks
play
very
here.
scary. Pawn takes e5. What's the trick here?
Right. Yeah. What
Hmm.
does he have in mind? Knight c3
Yeah,
instead.
there must be something I'm not seeing here immediately with that move. But maybe there was
Maybe
Black's
bishop
bishop comes up
c5.
quickly. Yeah, yeah, very tricky.
Bishop
But
e4.
that but White was threatening d8 there. Yeah, but I guess the king can slide still.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know why he didn't take an e5. That looked like a pretty good move to me,
Yeah,
but he
same. But
chose
there might be
otherwise.
something. I'm not as familiar with this one, but Black has to go king f7 to avoid bishop d8. But this looks like White's going
Wait,
to chop that
how's
king up.
how's queen d5 not game over?
Yeah. I mean, pawn takes e4, explodes the queen.
Oh, yes.
So,
No, I forgot.
but I see what you're getting at with bishop c4, but then bishop takes knight. So
Hmm.
unfortunately, I don't see the follow up. No, sometimes you can make moves like that, but I'm not seeing how to get more pieces in once pawn takes e4, and then the bishop c4 is desired, but not quite. No, but it does look like you take on d7 and then now you can address the bishop pin and then get your pieces out and this should be winning material, right? Like you can always block the d file should a rook slide over. Like you can't do it twice because bishop takes rook, rook over, bishop d3. So I don't really see how black can create anything. You can just take that and then play bishop d3 if the other rook comes over. um, you don't have so he could blow up the knight and take that bishop off the board. I'm not sure that that was necessary by white. He's still up a rook, so it should be pretty clean from here. I mean, you could even castle. Yeah, just castle and bring the rook in. This shouldn't. There's nothing black can do in this position. I think white should wrap this up. He has plenty of time on the clock.
Yeah, this
Um,
looks like an easy win. Something like rook e7, and I think checkmate is already pretty near.
yeah.
But I was just wondering when black played that move f5, f4, right? If
Mhm.
if you don't mind, if we go back a couple moves, why
Yeah, yeah,
did
yeah.
he
Let's do
not
it.
play rook to d8? So why not rook d8 here with the threat of rook d1?
Yeah, I think that um,
Or I guess you
that
just
would be the
castle, yeah? In the case
you
of rook
you castle
d2, king
sure, but then
h1.
yeah, then the rook slides in, but then you can move the king over, and eventually that rook will be offered by White's rooks, and it has to either run or give itself up. So, but that's a very I think that would be a very good try for Black. He's just getting mated here, of course, but
Yep.
nothing to be done there. Very interesting
This is
game.
game over. The king is stuck, and if you move, then white can take here, blowing up the black king, which
Hmm.
is the equivalent of checkmate in atomic. So this is going to be a win
Hmm.
for Johan.
A boom mate, if you
Hmm.
will.
Yep.
All right, we got another one up in the pipeline here.
Yeah. So let's have a look. I mean, this game is about to be over. Black is not
Yeah,
moving, and I see Johan typing in the
no, but
chat.
yeah,
All right. So here
okay.
we have Golden Buzzer against Viniquio.
Hmm.
Wow, what do we make of this opening? So why does that half open G file to attack with? Maybe at some
Looks
point he's looking to take and then follow with a
absolutely,
quick rook G8.
absolutely. So I guess where does Black's attempt at counterplay or defense come from here? Because it looks pretty bleak right now at a glance.
Yeah, it does. It
Mm,
does. Black is also down a minute on the clock. He goes queen h4, sacrificing the
to get the
queen.
rook, to get the rook active, but
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to be enough. White can maybe
right.
even just oppose the rook and then bring the queen over to that file, bring the bishop out, etc. Because I don't see where
Yeah,
Black's play is coming from beyond that, and it's going
yeah,
to
that's
take
pretty
time for
funny
Black to
indeed.
unwind the queen side.
Yeah, rook h1 is a pretty typical idea. I would not hang the rook because if black would take, both rooks would blow up. But I think as you pointed out earlier, a move like rook h1 often is met with a move like rook h2, so that in case white takes, both rooks blow up, but then at least black gets the move
Black
again.
exactly, exactly, and we may see that here. White has a lot more time to think, and there we do see rook h1, which is expected. Um, Black doesn't have to oppose the rooks; he can instead make a developing move like knight h6. You don't want to put the knight on f6 because e takes f5 would take the knight and a pawn off the board. So he's going to come to h6 instead. Yeah, and and here it's I think you get the queen out, the bishop out, maybe castle, and then again start to focus on that weak g6 point for the h file. Yeah, I like what White's cooking up here. Black has to unwind his pieces, but there will always be pawn advances on the queen side for White to hold those pieces at bay, which is
Yeah,
very thematic. That's sinking into the position. This is going to be very tough for Black. Difficult to move anything.
absolutely. Yeah, queen h4 was played with the idea of queen e7, which is why black played knight f6. Now white jumps in the knight as well. And, maybe at some point white can also go bishop d2 to c4. g5 is played by black. But black's also down in 19 seconds, so unless white hangs checkmate, white should just be on his way to win this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I just shout out to those following us in chat here. I see some people chatting. Himalayan Mystic, good to see you. Babo KD, good to see you. Uh, Always share your thoughts on the games. I hope you guys. We love to hear what you guys have to think about this one too. It's an exciting variant. Let us know what you guys are seeing there too.
Hmm.
All
Yeah,
right.
no, this is really fun. This is really fun variant. I'm really, learning here as we go through these games. Knight of seven. By the way, that arrow the white arrow we see on the board is an arrow that the player with the white pieces, Viniquio, is pointing out. But if
He's
black has
thinking about it.
no time, so if white does not
No.
get mated, he is just going to win this one.
I mean, he's thinking about, yeah, okay. But c5 pawn takes pawn, king moves, queen's in. It's over. Right? So,
Oh
like, I
yeah,
don't see knight, yeah, and the knight can take the other knight off the board if takes. So, he's trying, but those dark squares look really nasty right now. I'm
yeah.
not sure what he
But
can do about it.
But yeah, 2 seconds is really tough, especially in atomic. I mean, you're
Yeah.
just not gonna gotta get a whole lot of moves off here. So white
Yeah.
is just gonna win this one. Black is pre-moving, but it's all a little too late.
Mhm.
Oh, he's still getting
That's
pre-moves in though.
yeah, it's a
Ooh,
try. Alright, knight back. Yeah, pawn takes.
DC. All right, so nice win here by Viniquio in the losers bracket as he is fighting for his chance to survive.
Absolutely. And who knows? Hopefully, someone proves me wrong, and one of these guys from that matchup keeps advancing, not just the one that I highlighted earlier. All these players are excellent, so it's anybody's tournament. And you got those two lives.
Oh, bishop f7 here. Yeah. Okay, nice. And bishop takes e6.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Well,
Very
you see,
nice.
I'm learning,
Yeah,
getting better at
absolutely.
atomic slowly but surely.
Yeah, you
Okay.
see how the e6 pawn is fixed to the square by the e5 pawn? This is like one of these thematic ideas when weaving mating nets in Atomic. Pieces that can't move are very targetable, especially
Yeah.
around the king.
All right. So here we see Henry tying it up in the winners semifinals. So it's 1-1 there. Okay, so let's have a look at this game between Golden Buzzer and Viniquio in the losers round one. White is
Absolutely.
generally considered to have a big advantage in atomic, and we also see that here. I mean, White is up a full rook and a pawn. Do we think Black can come back here, or is this just going to be a slow but sure win for White?
I think black still has, as long as he has pieces, he has ideas. Um, there's a lot of positions. It's kind of funny when you look at atomic top level theory. There are a lot of positions that the computer will give even like plus 10 or more, and black at the at 2000 plus level wins more
Mhm.
than white. Um,
Mm.
there are, so like for instance, there are positions after knight f3, the most common opening d6. D6 was long thought to be like a problematic thing because it allows the knight to immediately jump in and threaten f7. And once it does that, after f6 is played, the knight f7 threatens the queen on d8. So the only recourse for black is to go queen d7, and after which knight takes d6 wins the queen. Now this position by the engine is rated at plus 10 or more, depending on what black plays. But in practice, black wins 49% to 48% of the time, which is just kind of
Oh.
crazy when you think about it. But it goes to show that no matter what the engine says, it's more about the ideas, the activity level, and how quickly you can get your pieces to the appropriate squares. That D file is incredibly deadly in the variation I was talking about. And strong players find ways to step out of, well, many players find ways to step out of the most theoretical lines because, yes, white has an advantage in most of them, but choosing the right time to get out of that, to get the activity with black, as long as you have pieces, you have a chance. Atomic is very tricky, and we're going to see a lot of tricky attempts from black players here today. Right now, there are squares in white's camp that black can think about over time, but for now, white has a lot of things under control. Um, in fact, what is white's plan after bishop c4? Okay, bishop c4, and
Hmm.
then
Okay, so knight c2 check. I assume that's going to be taken. Yeah, all right. So now at least Black gets some material back.
yeah.
e6 looks pretty natural, but I think Black just goes king h8. And at
Mhm.
some point, these pawns are going to disappear, and then Black is going to be looking to come
Try
in
to.
with a rook, which definitely is not easy to deal with for White.
He can maybe. He still has a pawn on c3, so he could consider castling long, but that move makes it kind of less fun to castle long because b5 would come. Um, b5, b4, I mean. But I don't know. White might still try to castle long, and then if his king is ever in danger, I don't see how black. Okay, he goes short. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. All right, e3, trying to go e2,
Very
king
dangerous.
h1 played. Okay,
It's a
h4,
great pawn.
h3. That's definitely a tricky. Yes, we were talking about this before the show. You once beat me in Atomic, and the way you did that is by
Was
putting a
fixed.
pawn on h3, and then when I went g3, eventually you somehow got a bishop around, and I
Hmm.
lost. So that's definitely an idea I'm aware
Yeah,
of. So
it
that's
is.
why h3 makes a lot of sense.
I got a bit lucky. Obviously, having white is a little bit of an edge, and I think it was a very tight game as well. Oh, but yeah, these fixed pawns are very. Ooh, white's just gonna queen, and I think, well, block off the rook. You can still block the rook, or and again, so Benjamin mentioned this earlier, but checks are not responded to in the same way necessarily in every position because you can be in check and still win the game by detonating the opponent's king. So you have to really turn that part of your chess brain or adjust it over because in regular chess, you have the three ways to deal with check. You can interpose a piece, you can take the checking piece, or you can move your king. You have all of those three options, but you also have blowing up their king in this variant. So you're going to see people win games well in check. That's almost certainly going to be
Mhm.
happening.
Yeah, and one thing that also still absolutely blows my mind in Atomic is that very often you can just move your king close to the opponent's king. So Greg, please explain to me and our audience. Let's
Yeah,
say White would have taken the king, right? Let's say in this position right here, right? Let's say White
yeah, yeah.
takes the Black king with their own king. Does White lose?
I don't believe that that's a legal move to detonate your own king. That's a great
Ah, so
question,
it's just an
actually.
illegal move.
Yeah, but that
Okay,
is that is a funny position. Um,
yeah.
if you are in check, you don't have to do anything. You live until you die from chat. Um, you do still have to respond to it in one of the four major ways, but you don't have to necessarily. Oh, is that Jake State Farm in chat? What's up, Jake State Farm? That must be. He's he's one of our premier guys in this variant. He's got a YouTube channel, actually. If y'all are out there, if you haven't subscribed to him yet, I would go over to JSF Atomic Theory on YouTube. Hey dude, what's up? He actually, I was mentioning this D6 line. This guy is amazing in that knight of 3 D6 stuff. So definitely go definitely go check him out. Definitely go check him out. I think you have a
Okay,
video
that's
on it out
awesome. Yeah.
now. Pretty recent, so good stuff. Good to see you, man. Oh, but we got chess, so let me refocus. Sorry about that.
No worries. Yeah, here we have another game between Henry and Johan in the winner's semifinal. It is currently 2-1 for Johan, but as we talked about before, it is a big advantage to start with the white pieces. So now Henry has an opportunity to strike back with white, but Johan right out of the gate, pretty
Very aggressive.
aggressive with these moves like Queen H4. But he's down. He's down a rook, but as we know, that's not the end of the game in Atomic.
Yeah, the tension maybe isn't super favorable for black here. Any ways to try to make progress tend to blow up his own pieces. White's going to get, I think White's going to get a lot of activity here on the queen side if they want, and it's hard to tell how black breaks through on the king side with this configuration. Um,
Hmm.
of course, the rook is completely pinned because of the threat of queen f2. So I saw some of these arrows being drawn, but there's no move of the rook because queen f2. Now, do you want to take that knight off the board? I don't see it. I don't see a long-term plan of it rerouting to the king side that I'm super worried about with white. But now, yeah, so he leaves it. Yeah, open up the center. Interesting.
Wait, so in case of d
Hmm.
takes e5, what is black gonna do? Because that would create a devastating threat of queen to d7. I don't
Hmm.
see how we're defending against that. But yeah, you made a very good point that there are some lines which are perhaps objectively losing for black,
Hmm.
but very tricky for white to navigate. However, I
Hmm.
do think that if white manages to navigate and avoid any immediate traps, then they should be winning long term. Like I would think about this position, white is up a rook. Yes, black has
Hmm.
some tricks, but if oh, wait. But if white doesn't fall for any of the tricks, they should win. And here's the line they're looking at. So they're looking at queen e7 check. That is the one move that makes sense. Their
Hmm.
calculation is bishop e3, pawn takes e3, and then rook
Yeah.
e3. That is the line
Mhm.
that white has looked at, which I suppose looks winning for
Maybe queen
white.
queen
Queen
d5.
e6 was.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's. Yeah, I keep forgetting about these
Yeah, queen
atomic
d5.
moves,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he does go
Wait,
queen
queen
d5, killing
f7?
queen f7, etc.
I was queen
Well,
f7,
yeah,
not checkmate.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
wait.
it's over now. Yeah. It's funny, these moves like queen d5 become more and more natural to you the more you look at these, though.
But
But
why queen e6 and why not queen f7?
um, I actually don't know if there's a major difference. Uh,
Because here, black could have played queen takes e6, no? And like, white's winning, but the game goes on.
yeah, it does go on, but it should be still white's pressing. Not sure.
My
That's a good
theory is
question.
that Johan already had his mouse on the resign button and was ready to click
And
as soon as
then,
white moved. And then queen
what was the
e6 came
time
through, and
skip?
then maybe now he's thinking to himself, like, maybe I could have kept playing for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. A little bit of regret there. Ooh, we have one match that's tied 2-2. Look at that. That's going to go to tie breaks. That's excellent.
Yeah, all
And
right. So here we have Chakrabarti
uh,
against Colomares. Let's
White
see.
has the same idea of eventually trying to get the bishop over to g8 that we referenced before, but mm, this looks interesting for black. That white king is um, in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so you know what idea makes sense? H4, H5, H6, follow by bishop G8.
Hmm.
You go
Yes.
G5 instead.
Have we seen that before? No,
No, we
no, no,
haven't
no.
yet.
There's
No.
no. He's those pawns are very hard to stop. Um, and now he's thinking about getting the pawn to g3 and then, or pardon me, g6, g7, and then the bishop to the light
Hmm.
squares potentially, or just
But
promoting.
white has no
This
time.
is.
White has no time. I think black is going to win this one on the clock.
I think you're right.
Yeah. No, especially in
Yeah.
atomic. Like in
Yeah.
normal chess, maybe you can make some quick pre moves, but in atomic, it's so difficult to navigate that I think you're just going to lose on time. So big win here for Golden Buzzer with the black pieces, as now he
Mhm.
only needs to draw with white to move on in the loser's bracket.
Absolutely, but if we do get tie breaks, in the case of 2-2, um, they do play a game with the same 3-0 time control. The higher seed gets the choice of color. Presumably, they'll take white. If there's a draw, they alternate colors until sudden death, until someone wins. So
Yep.
we are going to see
All right.
some more than just this one. I think as we advance further into the field, I think we're going to see some very tight matches.
Yeah. So here we have Johan against. So here we have we have Font against Michael in the winner semifinals, and this one, like you said, has gone to overtime. All right. So we see
Mhm.
some calculation. White was looking at knight d6 takes. That would also remove the bishop. Bishop f7, king d8, and then he's thinking to himself, "Well, and then what?" Right? Pretty interesting. White also has an edge on the clock. Who do you like here, Greg?
I actually like Black's position slightly. I Although that could change very quickly. I love that advanced pawn on e2 for black, and I do think as pieces come off, they'll be coming off in swaths here very shortly. Here we go. I do like when the dust settles, kind of the clamps black has around the white's king, but let's see if he tries. There's no way to save that queen, by the way, because queen c2, bishop c3 could detonate it anyway. So that queen, um, there is no way to save her right now.
Yep. All right, so black is not in a rush to take it because if black were to take, then they would also blow their own bishop. So I play knight e2, perhaps aiming to bring the knight in as well with like knight e4.
Mhm.
White also has an edge on the clock, so overall, if I'm looking at the full picture, I like white's chances. White's up a
You like
queen,
white? Yeah.
and white has more time.
I think Black's got some tricky ideas, maybe bringing it after castles and then bringing the knight through d4 in. But I'm not sure how White can untangle that queen side easily. Those pawns are just incredibly frustrating. You may have to sacrifice material to finish development. Here comes the knight. I like what Black is cooking up here. Um,
hmm
it's an annoying move.
Okay, I think, yeah, he was threatening knight g5, threatening to
Hmm.
take in the case of h6 then knight
Hmm.
e6 with the threat of knight takes f8 and knight takes g7, leading to win. But I agree with you. Like that pawn on e2 is incredibly annoying because if
Yeah.
black were somehow able to get this knight check in, then that would be game over. So the king on e1 is always going to be stuck. You can never move it, as then black is going to promote, and that's going to be the end of it. So very tricky. But once again, white also is up on time.
White is up on time. Black has to come up with the way to get in very quickly here with just 20 seconds on the clock. But the way that this queenside configuration is, White is just really struggling to find a move. And now perhaps if he can break through, if he can take the dark square bishop off the board, then suddenly knight e3 becomes a nasty threat, like you were saying. So I that queen is still completely dead to the game. She's on the board, but she's not relevant, and now the knight is going to enter. This is an interesting choice. As you kind of have to stop this, yeah, with rook g1, or if you take, this is not. I don't think you want to take. I think black's got a lot going for them right now.
Okay,
Um,
8 seconds for black. I mean, it's coming down to a time
yeah, the
scramble.
time. Yeah, of course, the time. But and he has to come, and he does want to develop to c6 and not allow knight takes d7, blowing up the rook as well. You're gonna hear us harp on that
Ooh.
all the time, but black is coming through now. Mate,
Wow, and he
yeah,
gets it done with
he
point
gets
six
it
seconds as he
done.
moves on to the winner final. Wow, what a game.
I like that a lot. That was a very that's exactly the kind of position that we were referencing earlier, where maybe if you put it into the engine, it likes white for all the material, and maybe there is some way to unwind, but it's incredibly difficult practically to unwind in this variant. And black just had all the clamps on the position and the long term
Yeah.
plans. I felt,
Yeah, no,
but
you're right. That pawn on e2 was just so difficult to try to deal with, and eventually
it
black
is.
managed a way to push it through, and the queen was the piece that delivered a checkmate. So nice win there. There's still more games ongoing, so we have this game between Vaniquio and Golden Buzzer. So here Vaniquio will have to win with the black pieces. He also, by the way, not a pawn, but
Mhm.
I mean, a bishop is less annoying because a pawn can always promote, but still slightly annoying perhaps. But
Very annoying
I would
still.
assume this should be a win for white, right?
Uh, how do you get in? I mean, once black pushes these pawns and starts and creates tension and swings the other rook over, how do you get in with white with the way that things are locked up presently? I guess that I mean, yes, I think you're right. White should be winning somehow, but it's again the practical point of black swinging a rook over once their pawns start moving on that queen side. And again, a pawn that's a passed pawn is a nightmare to deal with in atomic chess because again they defend themselves. So
Yeah.
um,
Oh, well, I'll tell you how White's gonna. Oh, Vinicio disconnected. That's rough.
oh, that's too bad. That is too
Yep.
bad.
So
What was your plan though? You
it's
said
already.
you had an idea for white.
No, I did not. No, no. But
Oh, okay.
well, my plan was this: make Black disconnect and win on time, and that's what White did as he
Mhm.
moves on in the losers bracket. All right, so let's see if we still have any games ongoing. I think that is it for now. So let's have a look at what we have. So we see that Michael wins in the winners semifinals, so he moves on to the winners final, and he's going to be facing off against Andre. So that's going to be a fun match. And then
Mhm.
in the losers bracket, we see Antonio is getting knocked down to that one. He's facing off against Chakrabarti, and then we have Johan Fan against Julian Weisstreitzer. All right, but I think Johan is definitely someone who's very capable of coming all the way back from the losers bracket.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is our third place finisher from last year. He comes in as the highest returning seed. So he's extremely dangerous. His match with Neo, I think again, those guys are going to be the well, I don't know. Golden Buzzer and Antonio Hernandez is still that 2019 Atomic champion. So he's got knocked down. So the losers bracket has a lot of intrigue. I like both matchups a lot. I think a lot of these guys still believe in their chances, even on their last life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, I think a lot of these guys are very capable of coming back. So even if the players that make it through to the in the winners bracket, they'll have a tough matches ahead of them.
Absolutely. And just so that you all know, you'll have a chance to face GM Judith Polgar, the strongest woman in history and one of the most influential players the game has ever seen in her match against the world. They are deep into the middle game, and Polgar is on the attack. Are you out there and to help the world defend? Join the battle with tens of thousands of players against one of chess's all-time greats, and use the command "Play Judith" in chat. If you want to learn more about the legend herself, check out her brand new documentary, Queen of Chess, now streaming on Netflix.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And what's also going to be awesome is that the games are going to be underway any second now, and I believe we are off. So here we have GM Onubense against Golden Buzzer. Knight of 3 definitely the main move
There we
for
go.
White, right? In Atomic.
So yeah, knight of 3 is definitely the main move because you're just threatening to come to knight e5 and threaten f7 and d7. So like moves like if you're trying to play c6 or c5, those just lose on the spot. But also there's a lot of theory around knight f3, f6, e3, and then d5 is sometimes tried, but this allows knight g5 and queen h5 ideas. There's a lot of nasty things going on. Actually, in this opening with d4, I'm more commonly aware of e4 being played on move 3 or 4. So after d4, d5, knight c3, c6, e4, and you can't take on e4. Again, for ideas of attacking those light squares around the king very quickly, I think it's actually a forced win for white, although I would have to brush up on it. But where
Wait, so
are we
E4
at
right
now?
here?
Oh no, after knight c3, c6, knight c3, c6, and then e4 for white. And the trick is that black can't take on e4. So
Uh-huh.
um, and yeah, and then after c6, now e4 instead of knight g5, e4. But that's what I play. I don't know if it's actually considered good these days, but it's a bit tricky. Black should not take on e4. White has a forced
Yeah.
win.
Yeah, and there's some funny ideas. Like one line
Hmm.
I know is, let's say in case of let's say knight c3, c6, e3 in
Hmm.
case of e6. There's this line with knight g5 I think, take, knight
Yes,
d5
takes
take,
queen eight. Or-
and then
Oh, this one,
check,
yes.
and then queen
So I
b6.
so are you
Or
thinking of I think I know the line you're talking about. Knight f3,
oh no,
f6,
it's
e3. e6. We can transpose in a couple of ways. Knight d4, c6, knight b5, cb5, queen h5, g6, queen b5, and then well, the queen comes to b6 is the funny move where black
Right.
has the
Yeah.
choice of king f7 or ab,
Mhm.
and then bishop b5. Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
We'll
I don't
we'll
know if we're
try
going to see that today.
we'll try to show that later. But yeah, there's some funny
Yeah,
lines that also I'm aware of.
yeah.
Knight to
I don't know if we're going to
c3.
see that today. I assume White's scoring even better now than when I last looked at that line. There are tries with king f7, and then I think White has to know queen c7. But yeah, it's very complicated. I don't know if we're going to see it today. It seems like players are a lot more playing these two knights and then d4 stuff. So I hope it would be fun if we
Hmm.
see it though. And this one, I like. Okay, so g4 is another typical defensive idea. Like Benjamin has said before, this doesn't hang the pawn. Everything is rigged. So now we got to move the f pawn. Okay. Do you go f3 or f4? Is the question here.
All right. So let's see. So I like
Rookie
this
goes.
for black. I mean, I don't know what you
Yeah,
think, but I would think that black has these minor pieces against the queen. I mean, I would definitely in normal chess I would like this for black. In atomic, I guess it's a bit tricky if white is able to get that queen in.
yeah,
He
she's
castles,
excellent,
I
but I
guess.
think you're starting to see the light. It's no matter what the engine might say about these sorts of positions, having all these extra pieces and activity and the control of the key squares. I like black here as well. I really do, and maybe there is some way to precisely attack for white, but I mean, 38 seconds on the clock for white. Is he going to find it?
Yep. Okay, queen d4. I like this check. Now the king has to move. I guess I like d2 and then maybe c5. This pawn cannot be taken. And yeah, also the time situation makes this really tough for white. I think black is simply gonna win this one.
Yeah, I think black. I agree with you. Also, shout out Sandbag X. We came for the boom. Don't worry, you will be seeing lots of boom here, uh,
Hmm.
especially as we get deeper into the tournament. All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Where do you put her? I mean, there are many ways to
Mhm.
block here. It's dealer's choice for black at this point. Very, very hard to figure out how that queen is going to cause any trouble. And then black will just have
Yeah.
pieces.
Okay, b6, tricky move. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, maybe with the idea of bishop a6. No, I think that's simply going to be a win for black. Like bishop a6, I think the queen is already trapped, right?
Yeah, if you go,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to give her up because otherwise that light diagonal is too much trouble for white to deal with. But I mean, black castles the rook. You can't oppose the rook. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. White resigned. White also had only 2 seconds on the clock. So nice win there for black. So that
very
definitely
big
is a
win.
great start to the match. And here we have the winner's final. This should be
Let's
a win
go.
for black, right? I mean, they're up a knight. Still in atomic, it's not over until it's over. But rook e3, I
So
like rook. Oh no, wait, that also blows up the knight.
it blows everything up, and then you have a pawn. Um, is that enough? I think it
It
should
should be.
it should be, but he's getting the king right over. How do you trick them here? I mean, we're down to just 15 seconds, 12 seconds apiece here. So everything's
Well,
coming off.
g5? Why not g5?
He has to try it at some point. He has to try g5 at some
Or
point. There it is.
is he just pre-moving? Okay, I
He
guess.
can't. How do you separate the king? How do you separate the king from your king though?
Oh, queen, yes, and
There
queen
it
takes
is.
h4. Ah, yeah,
Very nice.
we've seen that pattern
Very
before.
nice. That is very nice technique there.
Okay, right. So I guess with pawns on the board, you move your king to a pawn, and then you can always,
So the only
take
way
that
they
pawn
can attach
if
their
the enemy king is near.
exactly, that was really nice technique with very little time on the clock. A lot of these guys play a lot of bullet. In fact, a couple of these guys I saw were training against Stockfish 7 in bullet recently, preparing for this tournament. So these guys are all capable of putting out a lot of moves really quick at a high level as well.
All right, nice. Okay, so here we have a game that started with knight h3,
I love that.
and
There's only one good move for black in theory. Yep.
yeah,
Oh,
which
sorry.
is definitely h6. And in case white goes knight f3, the best move definitely by far and large is f6, stopping knight e5 and knight g5. But sometimes when I play against when I used to play in these arenas and I would play against low rated, I like the move knight h3 because a lot of people would go f6 anyway. And
Mhm,
then there's a lot of traps, as we talked about before. But h6
mhm,
is the best move. And
mhm,
now, I mean, how do we feel about this knight on h3? Can also be misplaced over here, right?
mhm. By the way, did you like knight? Do you like going knight c3 or e3 more on move two after knight eight when they do go f6 after knight h3? Because both are very good. Um,
Right.
and
I
so
think e3. I think e3.
yeah, I also stick that to that. But I think knights, and again, we're seeing a lot of white players bring out their knights on move one and two, and that does offer up a lot of very immediate threatening ideas as well. So it's interesting to see how this evolves over the years. Um,
Hmm.
Look at all this, though. A lot of tension,
Yeah.
less piece play, a lot of pawn play. I like what white's got cooking, although you might want to, if you shut this down, yeah, that looks a bit scary for black.
All right. So black is up a piece for a pawn, but white is kind of using that extra pawn that they have to try to make inroads on the king side. And c7 played. Yeah, atomic is always confusing. I mean, black is up a piece. You'd think they're doing well, but
Yeah.
it's really hard to say what's
I
going on.
guess, yeah, we kind of have to forget about material a little bit. Not like you, obviously, it still matters a lot, but I think activity, control of space is really important in this variant. Um, and of course, whoever has the initiative, which is why we see moves like this, which control a square. Now, however white wants to approach taking that, at least black gets the move back.
Yeah.
Now, if you have to swing the queen over if okay, so for black, you have okay, he's threatening mate. Funny. Uh, okay, he
Now,
wants to
one
get
thing
white.
we've
White
talked
has a
about.
clear plan here.
Now, one thing we've talked about before is that it's very dangerous if pawns around your king are fixed, right? So we see that both sides do not have that problem, right? That's why it often makes a lot of sense to push up the pawns in front of your king.
But in
Um,
but while we're mentioning that, I should say that I prefer white's pawns here because those pawns that are on light squares could be problematic if a move like bishop to e8 happens. Bishop e8 attacking c6, and now if the king comes under fire and has to run, there could be ideas of hunting down these light square pawns with either with tempo or just directly for mate. I mean, not in this position, but just as a long-term idea, I kind of am a little worried about the activity of white's bishop for black's sake, if that king has to start moving around.
yeah,
Um,
one thing I'm worried about is White's clock. He's down to
oh
38
no.
seconds against the minute 30. That's a big time disadvantage. And I
Yeah.
think if Gravosin is not going to lose on time, he has great chances, or if he's not going
Mm,
to hang checkmate, he has great chances to win this one.
yeah, he's trying to get the bishops active now, but black always can take them off the board. So I think that black's doing well here. Maybe, yeah, he wants to bring the queen in. So he's blocking with knight f6, and he's threatening things like uh, queen e4, or maybe in some lines, queen, not anymore. So yeah, queen e4.
All right, yeah, queen e4 looks like a good move because White was turning queen e7, so a trade
Hmm.
happens. 21 seconds
Yeah.
for White. I mean, that's still time to
Black should
look
just
up.
take the bishops off
Oh,
the board and be better. He can corral
yeah,
that pawn by blockading. Like rather than yeah, in regular chess you can try to win pawns. Here you just blockade them. But those bishops are huge. Once he gets the rest of the
yeah,
now the rook is shut down. This is very tough. I think black is just gonna um, walk away with this one. But time is also on black's side actually. So yeah, I think we're gonna see a black win here in short order.
yeah. Okay, I guess
Uh,
now you just move up the king, bring in the rook. And I think
mhm,
especially, but a bishop d1 is such an atomic move. White wants to bring in the rook, so you just put your bishop in the way,
block
and there's
it.
nothing they can do.
Yeah, and
All
this is
right,
now mating, and this is mating.
check. Where exactly is the mate, though? White also has no time. Bishop
Bring
c3, perhaps.
yeah, he brings the other bishop in, and whoo, big thunderstorm. I don't know if the mic cut that, but big thunderstorm outside. And there's thunder on the board with mate right there. We came for the boom, we get the boom.
Yep, nice win here by Korvozin as he gets a win with the black pieces and now ties it up. So both players won with the black pieces. That's quite something.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to see that the players, as they advance more and more, what separates atomic level players is a lot of us learn the ideas with white, but learning the deeper ideas with how to win with the black pieces and create practical chances in imbalanced positions, that's what separates these players from everybody else, is their ability to consistently create trouble from engine inferior positions.
Yep.
And I think
All
that's
right,
very
so really
cool
interesting.
and unique.
Wait, so in this position right here, oh wait, we might have seen something similar before, right? Where
Yes,
perhaps white went for that idea with bishop d3, bishop g6, and
yes,
then knight e8 and won the game. So
yes.
perhaps that came from the very same opening.
Yeah.
Let's
How do
see if
you
black has an improvement here.
He better. Otherwise, it's gonna be over very soon with these threats. Um, and everything for black is completely locked up by that knight on c7 as well. You never have for instance, even if that dark square bishop were moved, you never have an idea of bringing the queen in the game with e7 because e6 knight e6 removes the queen from the board. Obviously, the light square bishop and the queen's rook can't move at all, really, right now. So so even though like white could take the rook and gain material, if you will, a lot of times having a piece annoyingly get in the way is far better than taking the immediate material unless there's a very concrete reason to take. So I really
Yep.
like what white's doing here.
Yeah, so h4, nice move, stopping the move queen g5. Black is pointing out the move king g8, or we see the black arrows here. Those are black's moves. So he's looking at g5, I guess, or king g8. Um,
Hmm.
Interesting. He goes g5. Wow. So in case white
Yeah.
takes, what does he have in mind? Does he want to go queen h4?
Yeah. So obviously, I don't think white should take because that gives up the square, and then black's queen enters. So white should maybe leave the tension and mm, yeah, white should leave the tension and then maybe develop. Well, okay, he goes for the pawn. That's also good. Yeah, makes sense. We're controlling the square further. How do
King
you
g8.
unwind here? Yeah, you want to get the queen's rook in as well for white. I'm wondering, but it's not so easy.
Bishop
And
d3.
these pawns
Nice
start
move.
pushing us. Yeah, and now he's already trying to disrupt any potential harmony between the rook swinging over. Also, okay, so that's what he wants. I like that we get to see their thoughts when they draw arrows. I think that's a very neat part of the variant server. I wonder if b5 or b4.
All right, so he wants to go queen b4. That's an arrow he pointed out earlier with the idea to go queen d2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess in case of f6, queen
So
b. Okay, that's why b4 is
b4, okay.
played in
But
typical
bishop takes
atomic
pawn,
move.
rook, and now rook b8 or b1. Pardon me, rook b1 after bishop takes. But queen then the queen gets in, does she not? Like, do you sack the bishop
But,
here to try to get the queen in?
but
No, you
then
don't.
maybe white could have played a3. But anyway, so he
Ah, yeah,
took
yeah, yeah.
on e6. Black is now pointing out rook f1, bishop f2, blocking the file, bishop h7. The king goes to h8, I
Scary.
assume. And then do we
Yes.
take on g5? All right, then there's queen f3. Queen f3.
Yes.
So bishop
Also,
f5,
yes,
blocking
you have to
the
block the
file.
queen. Mhm.
d5.
Mm,
I think taking on g5 makes a lot of sense. But I assume black is. Oh wait, that removes your bishop. Never mind. I don't think that's good.
mhm, mhm. He's just trying to
e2.
getting his king safe, rook in. You can always close down the E file in a couple different ways.
Will he
Still
taking on
one way.
g5 now?
Less
Bishop
ways
h4
now.
forced.
Less ways
Born.
now. 'Cause that queen becomes really dangerous, but so do these rooks. You have
I think the
30
queen has to
seconds left for
go.
black.
Yep.
Yeah, 30 seconds left for black. I think okay. Interesting choice. He's
I like
counting.
white here with the knight and the pass g pawn.
I
But I don't
agree.
know.
I don't think black will
g5.
create a passer in time.
And
He's
also
blockading
black
with
has
the
no
king.
time.
It's completely fried on the clock. Um, Still not
I think on the
trivial for
board
white.
this is a draw because both sides have three pieces. I think that's kind of the atomic theory.
Yeah, yeah. So if two sets of these pawns come off, and then the blockade, the knight I don't think is going to be enough to ever do anything. So not sure.
Black has 11
Let's see.
seconds. Okay, a5? Wait, a5, b4? Wow, what is going
Mhm.
on?
Pieces just disappearing. Absolutely, that's the name of the game.
Okay, I like what he's doing. CD or... But a6 now? a7? Okay, it should be knight takes c4. Yeah, okay, this is an
Yeah,
easy win for white
this
now.
yeah.
He's gonna try
Was
to do
black
the thing. Wait, what?
should black have been able
Okay.
to make more trouble in that, though, in that ending? I'm really curious about that. That's very interesting.
Okay.
How do you get the
Enough.
alright, so we're seeing the attempt to separate. Yeah. Separate the king using the pawn because of detonation. Very nice. Very nice.
All right. So we see a win by Gravozin as he
Mhm.
grabs a 2-1 lead in the winners final. All right.
Absolutely, and we do have a tied match in one of the loser quarterfinals, between Johan and Julian. They'll be going into tie breaks. So that should be very exciting
Mhm.
as well. The 2-1 lead for Antonio in the other match.
Yeah. All right. So let's have a look at the fourth game between Henry and Gravozin. All right. So I assume this is a technical win for white with the extra bishop and pawn. But, it's never that easy to prove it as there's still play left in Atomic. But this, I mean, with correct play, this should be a win for white, right?
Yeah, I do like White a lot. I actually, so he wants to bring the knight into G4, so F3 would be a response. I actually really like both E4 and B3 ideas in these types of positions for White. I want to get my bishop to A3, trade those off, and then bring my knights to the dark square, my knight to the dark squares. Maybe not directly right now, but F3 to control the knight. But of course, you can just expand as well with the queenside pawns for White. A couple different ways to try to peel this potato. But yeah, I agree with you. I think
Mhm.
White should just actually have a very pleasant game ahead of them, and this one should be easier for White to prove. Black doesn't have um, the kind of activity that you like to see from other openings where Black has a higher win rate. I think right now the pieces maybe aren't as happy for Black long term, and White's enjoying a lot of clamping moves. So
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think White has the cards here.
Yeah. So, all right. So that means that Michael is in a great spot to come back with white pieces and tie it up and take the match to overtime. I think you've said this before, right? In this stage of the competition, I think it's very likely that a lot of matches will go to overtime. I mean, both players are really good. It's really hard to win games with black because white has such an advantage. That's why
Hmm.
we'll see like players winning with white, losing with black, and then match going to
Hmm.
2-2 in overtime. Bishop c5. Wow, what do you make of that move?
And I love it. It's trying to pry files open, pry activity, but
Mm.
I do think White's got this in the bag. As for it is really hard to win with the black pieces, and that's why I think it's such an interesting variant is how these top players choose to where and when they choose to go into knowingly inferior lines to create those chances of play by having a better understanding of the ideas within the position, even if they know something isn't right. Um,
Right, but I'm a little bit confused about that move. Bishop takes f4. He just voluntarily gave up a bishop. That seemed a bit much to me. And now we see white pointing out knight a3, followed by queenside castles. But he thinks that black is going to go e5, e4, which makes a lot of sense.
yeah, remove. Maybe you even try to go bring the knight to d6 to close the d file down if you are insisting on castling kingside. But I don't know if that's really what white needs to be thinking about right now. Um, there's a lot of tension here on the king side for white as well, so hard to know where he should put his king if he should even be thinking about castling. Probably not, but he is thinking castles long, as we're seeing. I guess you do have to kind of ask yourself what happens if that bishop gets threatened to be removed, so that rook d1 is a threat for black. But then again, the
It's a
tension
little
goes both
tricky for
ways, right?
white, especially with the time.
Yeah,
I mean, kingside castles lose the game on the spot with a knight e3 with a double threat of knight xg2 and knight x1. And now
he's
still
gonna
I like
castle.
knight e3, threatening checkmate. And in case of rook d2, then knight d1. So he goes king
Yeah,
b1. But black is
it's
cooking up some
scary.
tricks here. White's also down on
Yeah,
time.
it's very scary. What's our time situation? 46 to a minute. Okay. Yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
gonna see. We're gonna see. That's plenty of time. Plenty of time. Okay. Yeah, black is definitely cooking up an attack here. It's definitely uncomfortable.
What about b4?
Yeah. Knight the yeah. For white, are you ready? I think you let the knight go, yeah? And then you start to
I think you have to, yeah.
yeah.
All right, so why not b4 here? I mean, you hit the knight is trapped, I think.
Yeah, I think you let it go and then maybe you activate. Oh, okay. So he's gonna act okay, so if takes then well at least the bishop becomes kind of annoying in some lines.
All right, but I think black should just take the knight. I mean, I don't see what else.
Yeah, you
And
should.
okay, took on c3 also makes sense, removing the bishop, knight d6. You can take the
Mhm.
rook if you want to, but both sides are really low on time right now.
Yeah, I think I like the knight more than the rook, honestly.
Mhm.
I I I mean, I think okay, so white's trying to get active. The knight blocks
It's
yep.
four, nice
And he's
move.
gonna start shoving these pawns. He's gonna start shoving these pawns, yeah.
It's coming down to a time scramble, both sides 13 seconds.
Yeah, very tough.
Wait, what? You just the knight gets
He's
okay. Wait, we give that check first, and now the rook goes. This has to be winning for black now, but anything can
you'd
happen in the
think
time scramble.
but yeah. And white has this trump card potentially if the pawn of pieces come off, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. He's bringing the other one in. Okay.
Ooh,
Time.
and white takes this
Time.
one. He was just a better time scrambler, right? Really
Mhm.
turn up the pace, and black was just a little bit too slow there.
And he advances with that win. Johan secures a place in the loser's semifinal. Who is he going to be facing? We've got a 2-2 match between Antonio and Brajesh here, Golden Buzzer. If we can scoot over to that one, catch their tie break, I'd love to see what's going on there. We also have a 2-2 tie in the final, though. So, dealer's choice, whatever you want. Both games are going to be excellent.
Yeah, let's look at this match in the winners final between Gravoz and Henry. This one
Mhm.
started out with an opening that I think for the longest time was considered to be dubious. Knight f3. I think we always thought it should be met with f6, but black goes e5, knight g5,
It's a
and
trap.
f5
And you can't go
before.
knight
So
f7 because of queen h4, I think.
right,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
giving up some material, but he's grabbing a lot of space. Right, we see both sides
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
pushing pawns, grabbing space. Knight takes h7, picks up a rook because you lose a knight, but black loses a rook and a knight. But black continues grabbing space, and now white's kind of cramped here.
Yeah, so this is dubious, but like you said, it's not so straightforward. I like bishop f5. I
Wait,
don't
wait,
know.
wait. So we
Do you
saw
kind of
right
like
here.
black though? Yeah.
Um, why did white do this, or did he find black's extra space so annoying that he thought he just had to go?
Um, I think it was more that he valued that light diagonal for the bishop, just, getting black's bishop out of the way, the activity of the bishop. But um, now he's giving it up, so I'm not actually entirely sure. I'll have to brush up on this f5 stuff myself. I see we have some very strong players here in the chat. And okay, so one of our theoreticians here, Jake State Farm, out here saying he hasn't actually seen this queen sack idea. So it's new to him as well. So maybe some evolving theory happening right before our eyes, actually. Let's see what white is
Alright,
cooking up. It's not so straightforward, right?
no, black has a queen, but white has a rook, a bishop, and two pawns. It's hard to say whose king is safer. I mean,
Yeah.
I honestly have no idea. Bishop f4. I mean, yeah.
It feels like black should be, but white chose to go into this in an elimination game. So they must have some
Mhm.
some interesting ideas they're cooking up. But
Right. Okay. So let's see. So 92 is played. I don't know where the knight is going. Maybe like should be 3 and b5 is an idea at some point. Let's see. White is up almost a minute on the clock. That's definitely a factor. I think in the last game, Henry won in the time scramble. So let's see if Gurvosin can get his revenge here.
Hmm. He's had a great tournament so far, and this position is extremely interesting. In terms of progress, I'm actually kind of struggling to come up with a great plan for either side. Um, there's so much tension that like too many advancing moves can just clear a lot of pieces off the board. So you have to be very precise here. It feels he's dropping that knight in. Okay.
Yeah, knight g5. I wonder where it's going. Maybe like knight e6 to try to win the black queen as an idea. Okay, so
Yeah,
black
but rook takes.
sacrifices
You
the
can just
rook
take it off
for
the
the
board.
knight, which I think is a good trade for black. But ooh, rook h1 is a tricky move, so that's why black stopped it.
Black is backpedaling right now. I think white is, even though the pieces are, in a vacuum lesser, because they have more options, I kind of like what white is doing here. If he can navigate these pawns correctly and create the right lines of play, white should be the one going for a win in this position. Black feels a little tied down, but that can change very quickly. Obviously, the queen for black, one inaccurate move by white, and that black queen is gonna run amok and bring the white king down. So tough to say. I like
Exactly.
white here.
Yeah. All right, so let's see what's going to happen. We see also, by the way, that white is up like 30 seconds on the clock. Maybe an idea could be something like queen c6 to c4, trying to slide into e2, and in case of bishop d3, then maybe queen g4. I don't know, just an
Yeah,
idea that I was looking at. The rook h4 played.
yeah. I was thinking
Okay, I
about
wonder
b5 for
where
this
that rook is
reason.
going.
I was thinking about b5 for white before this last move for that same reason, and then maybe bishop to c3 for the dark, improving the bishop. But he's gone instead for rook a4, or pardon me, h4.
All right, so 14 seconds for black. He goes d4. Black needs to find a way to the white king very quickly, or else he's simply going to lose
Yeah.
on time. I mean, rook e4 there takes, king of 1 instead. Feels risky,
Yeah.
putting it on the open file, d3.
Just
Wow.
push your pawn.
Yes.
c4. You go c4 here. Queen b2
Alright.
is nothing. C4, queen b2 is nothing, right? So you can. I think you
Ooh,
do.
Gurvosin needs to speed up here. He lost the
C4.
last game on time.
He does go
I
c4.
think Henry really picked up the pace. I mean, but 5 seconds for Henry is not a lot of
Not enough.
time.
He has to just
G4, that
create
wins the
threats and
queen.
hope. Yeah,
Although,
he has to create threats.
this is
Oh,
tricky though with that pawn. I think Henry's going to take it. He's going to have
yeah,
easy
3
pre-moves.
seconds. Oh,
Oh,
he's got this. He's got this.
yeah.
He's got this, yeah.
Wow,
And
what a
mate.
turnaround. What a
Wow.
turnaround.
Wow. What a lovely finish. What a lovely finish. Wow. Yeah, that could have been anyone's game for a while there, but I really liked what White had going. But then we saw that it wasn't quite right, and Black's queen did what we were worried about. She got active, and that was that. And the pawn ran, and that was that. But now we have
Yep.
our field set for the next round. We'll be heading into break shortly here, but let's take a look at what we're gonna have when we come back.
Yeah, so this is our bracket. We see that Henry moves on to the grand final, and he's going to have to wait for his opponent. So first, in the loser semifinal, we have Antonio Hernandez facing off against Johan Fon, and the winner of that plays Andre Volgin for a chance to face Henry in the grand final.
Absolutely, it's going to be a ton of fun. All these are some of our pre-tournament favorites that are still kicking. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be a good time.
And then I seem to remember that I just made a move immediately when I just replied immediately, like not even sitting down when he when he made his move. Like I think those are the things you do as a kid.
We want to show you some special and fun moments from your career and have you reacting to those videos.
A draw. It's a sensation.
It was a special game for me for sure. Very difficult to prepare against Kasparov because he felt like he sort of played everything and kind of invented all the best modern openings, or at least practitioned them. But I guess at some point, I was just trying to play a solid normal game, and then at some point I managed to outcalculate him. Like, he missed a little trick, and yeah, after that I just think I played a little bit too cautiously at one point, but I was obviously happy with the draw.
And this clip has become very famous in modern times as well, on social media, Twitter, etc. And people saying like 13-year-old kid is like bored when drawing the greatest player of all time at the time. And have you been following that, or have you realized that yourself, that this specific clip has been so viral?
I think that's just what I did during those days. It was the theoretical position, so I didn't understand why my opponent was thinking. Like, now I would understand these things a lot better, since I've been in those situations where I played kids and others whom I definitely would want to beat, and whom I know that it would be a big thing if I lost or drew. So then you're sort of sitting there, sort of thinking it through a bit further, like, which line should I actually go for? Where can I find some winning chances with the black pieces? So and he was maybe thinking, like, what are some old lines that I can play that he doesn't know since he's a kid, and so on. I honestly probably could have played anything. I didn't know that much at that time, but I think a lot went into that. But at the time I was like, yeah, it's a theoretical position. I don't know why he's thinking. Let me look at some other games. I don't know. And then I seem to remember that I just made the move immediately when I just replied immediately, like, not even sitting down when he made his move. Like, I think those are the things you do as a kid. But it was good to see that, like, at least part of the game I was able to approach as if it was just any other game.
I'm Judith Polgar, and I won against some fantastic players and 11 world champions. From those games, I want to share some of them now. The first game, when I played against Magnus Carlsen in 2012 in Mexico, it was a rapid event. He was world number 1 already at the time. So he took g takes f5, keeping my lion bishop here in the cage on g7. So obviously I was ready for my queen to capture that pawn. Now I'm attacking the rook, which became undefended after the move bishop f1. So now Magnus was playing rook e1. So for the moment, I felt that I have to start being active, staying active, and activate some of my pieces. So from g8 with my knight, I went knight f6. I'm attacking now the pawn on e4 because the knight and bishop attacking on e4. The knight is protecting only once there. So now Magnus played knight d5. So the knight was a little bit out on b6, so he wants to block my bishop. I went rook a8, attacking the queen and also controlling. If I don't have the pawn already, let's have a very powerful rook over there, right? And then Magnus played queen b4, attacking my pawn on d6. I was continuing to develop, or more protect, the d6. So Magnus wanted to stabilize the position and went f3, stabilizing the central pawn on e4. And incredible, but this move is a double question mark. And after this move, I realized that I have a move which is amazing, because you see that we are having full board position. Only several pawns are off the board. And I went now for one move, queen h4, only one square forward. And basically, the problem is that not only I'm attacking here, but after rook c1, I can take on d5. And this was the game, basically. I started out with the bad move order, but we ended up takes, knight takes d5, and after that I won material. So this was the game which I won against Magnus Carlsen. It was very memorable because we had a very tough match. And of course, it was something shocking for Magnus that basically after f3, queen h4, the game was lost. I'm Judith Polgar, and I won against some fantastic players and 11 world champions. From those
Henry is also that he has 2 lives, meaning that you have to not only beat Henry once, you have to beat him twice to win the championship.
And that's a tall order. As we've seen, no one's been able to get him the first time, so beating him twice is going to be tough, but all these guys have to have a lot of faith in their openings, their repertoire, their tactical mind for the middle game. So I think these guys feel good about it. They're still kicking.
Absolutely. Yep. So the games are going to get underway pretty soon. So what do you expect in this match between Antonio and Johan? I mean, Johan lost the match early on against Michael. So I think he might have just been a bit unlucky with the pairing there. I feel like Johan definitely is someone very capable of just winning these matches and just making it all the way through, making it back to the grand final.
Absolutely. He's one of our more experienced returning players. But of course, Antonio has been around for over 7-8 years that I can think of, including some incredibly dominant performances in the past. So this is a very level match. I don't know what to expect in terms of who I would predict as a favorite. Maybe the slightest edge to Johan because he's the higher seed. So if it does go to Armageddon, he'll have the white pieces, and it'll be on Antonio to cook something up with black. But that can happen. So, but it's very, very tight. It's very, very tight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So the games have not started yet. I assume soon they will. All right. So do you think during the break they were perhaps brushing up on some theory, relaxing a little bit? What do you think the players did to get ready for these matches?
Honestly, maybe it's a personal thing. I wouldn't be looking at prep or anything like that. I wouldn't be brushing up. I think I would just get a glass of water, walk around, empty my mind out. Everything you've done up to this point has brought you here. I don't think that any last minute studying on the break is going to be humongously beneficial. Maybe if you think there's some chink in the armor of your opponent that you might have noticed if you happen to play them in a prior match. But I think more about getting your mental right and being calm coming in is how I would want to approach it. I think that's how these guys are approaching it, but I don't know for sure. What do you do on breaks between matches?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, I think it depends. Like you said, I think, yeah, like you said, everything you've done brought you up to this point, so you don't want to do too much more. Unless there's really a big hole in your repertoire that needs to be fixed, right? Perhaps then you brush up on some theory or something like that. In the meantime, by the way, we're off to this game. We see that Johan is up 40 seconds on the clock. What do you make of the position? Well, bishop e5, I think an interesting move. Perhaps aiming to stop the black queen from swinging over along the 5th rank.
I like this a lot for black. I don't see a great way to... I think the queen is actually misplaced on a5. And I wouldn't be shocked if there's some retreating move in the future for black to reorganize her. I think white is the one that is quicker to the active file. And I don't really see black's long-term or even middle game plan here. So I like white a lot here. What are you making of the position?
Yeah, I also like white. I feel like the white king should be safer, whereas black's king is a little bit vulnerable. White can maybe somehow try to infiltrate through the 8th rank. We see white is pointing out the move g4. And earlier he was also pointing out g4 followed by king e2. There we see it again, the white arrow followed by queen h1. That is a very interesting idea. In the meantime, he's pointing out queen takes b2. Perhaps as a move to be worried about. And queen b4 does stop queen c1 as it runs the queen takes b2. Queen takes d2, queen to d2 also is out of the question because of queen takes c3. So let's see if he will go for that plan of g4. Now he's saying that maybe black should go knight d7 to fade, and there we have
like-
g4 on the board.
Yeah. And pass it back to black. What's black's plan here? Okay. So he's got to pick up the pace. Of course, he's down 40 seconds. So black's time to create plans. He has to stick to what he's got right now, probably. Start picking up the pace.
All right,
But
a3,
after
nice move, kicking the queen. Wait, where do you go with the queen? I think it's actually trapped. Queen a5, bishop takes a6. So what
maybe
do you do here?
take the pieces on the way out, maybe. If that's your you could also stay, because do you like the knight and bishop more if takes? But then white could possibly try to take the knight, and then then the queen can get away. Yeah. So I think maybe you just leave the tension, right?
Yeah,
Leave
a very
the
good point.
tension.
If white were to take, white loses the knight and the bishop in the process, which is not that clear, because then the black knight can also jump to b4. Things definitely get tricky there, so it's still anyone's game at this point. And still he's looking at that idea of king e2. Maybe black will just go queenside castles in case a queen appears on h1?
I think that's probably the plan. You have to address that H file ASAP. If that is the plan for white. I don't think that. Okay, that's a nice move. That is a nice move. You have to take.
I feel like white misplayed it there, because now white's down a piece.
Yeah.
Knight b4.
And here I thought that
Nice
black
move.
queen was misplaced, but she ends up winning a knight on her way out. So shows what I know. That worked. Yeah, I do think white maybe could have handled that a bit differently.
Yeah. That's a knight b4 tricky move. e5. Okay, I guess. Okay, black took. White is down a couple pawns in the endgame. I feel like black should be doing well here. The knight's also a very tricky piece, whereas the bishop is a bit easier to deal with, right? If your opponent has a light square bishop, maybe just keep your king on a dark square. Whereas then I can easily jump around. I guess the big question is if black can somehow get their rook into the game. But for the moment, it's a bit difficult, as move like king d7 would run into checkmate on 1. So let's see how the players will navigate this endgame where black is up 1 pawn at the moment.
Yeah. I do agree. I think we're going to see black win here. That was a big miss earlier. It happens. There's a lot going on in Atomic. The position was complex, and that's why you never worry too much about evaluations. And this is a win with black is massive, as we've said many times here in this variant. Taking control of this whole matchup with a black win, I think that gives him incredible odds. Yeah, he's going to get
I
active.
agree. And
Rook's
not
gone.
only is black doing well on the board, white is also down to 7 seconds. White needs a miracle here. I don't think it's going to happen.
There's no miracle. I hate to be a Debbie Downer for Johan fans here, but
this is a pretty easy win. You've seen this plenty before. You can just get the king out of there, create the separation, as you would always say, and then at some point,
he's got the fixed pawn, and then he goes around and detonates. Yeah.
Okay,
and
nice win
even
here.
Even if
Antonio, who wins with the black pieces.
Yeah, very, very, very impressive from an OG in this variant. It's great to see him competing. And here we have okay. Again, people are dusting off the lines with black that create a lot of opportunities that maybe aren't engine approved, but are really good practical tries, and you love to see it.
All right, so we see that black is down in exchange, but I don't think that's a super big deal. Looks pretty fine to me. I mean, black has active piece play. White is out of book, so I quite like black's chance. And black also managed to force white to play this move f3, which generally is quite weakening. Queen h4 now is a big threat, as after g3, queen h3 would create some inroads, so that's why g3 was played. Bishop a3, nice. Wow, so threatening to blow everything up on the queen side. Bishop takes a2.
Yeah, and if takes, maybe we bring a knight to b4 at some point. Trying to get the knights active this way, but I'm trying to calculate everything there. It seems like black wants to target these dark squares on the queen side, in some continuation here. But
yeah, that's a nice idea. Knight c2, knight b4. Not the c knight, as that would lead to bishop takes d7, and that's checkmate. But maybe the other knight, and in case white would take, the bishop would disappear. Then you can jump in with the other knight. So definitely some interesting ideas that black can work with. And ooh, white's also way down on time.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a role reversal from last game, right? Because it was Johan that was in terrible time trouble last time with the white pieces. So this time he's completely picked up the pace, and we've got a flipped situation where white is trying to take their time to be precise.
Okay, interesting stuff here. Knight c2, just a calm king to f1. All right.
Knight's
Looks
annoying, but there's no
fine, I
immediate.
guess.
Again, and the knight restricts the queen's movement greatly because of the threat of knight e3 if the queen tries to develop herself. So it's doing a great job there. Again, you don't want to give up the knight for the rook that's not doing anything. Having the knight be a bother there is far more important than the concept of material. I think white is doing well here, though. Trying to crash through.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I assume in case of d takes e6, there's gonna be d5. d6 was played. He played a5, perhaps with the idea to go rook a4 at some point in the future. Activate that rook.
Unfortunately, you'd have to first move the pawn. Otherwise, rook takes pawn wins the rook off the board as well. So if you were to try to go, if you try to lift the rook now, rook takes pawn, and you win the pawn and the rook. Although I don't know that that's necessarily best, but it just is a thought. Okay, but now that pawn is very nasty though for white long
It's
term.
so funny to me that in Atomic, sometimes all they do is push pawns. They just want to
Yeah,
grab space. That's a big
yeah,
part of the game.
because they're booby trapped, right? So like every pawn is protecting itself, and it's really difficult to handle, and that's why blockading is such a critical idea in so many positions, which we're seeing him do now. And also, the queen
Mhm.
has some interesting ideas connected to the knight sacrificing itself if the bishop loses its responsibility to e3. Like white's not going to do that, obviously, but if white's bishop weren't there, then there are ideas of knight sack to bring the queen along those dark squares. But
Yep. Oh, Antonio down to 25 seconds. Johan in a great spot here to get the comeback. He's down a queen though, but 20 seconds for Antonio. Is he gonna get it done? Check.
it looks very, very scary. The knight's gonna, I mean, I think you move. Do you go to e1 and then push the pawn? Where does this queen access though? If you can't move the knight, right? Because then the queen activates. No, she can't activate to d4 because pawn takes d5. That mates the queen. So how do you get the white queen into the position if black does move the knight? Just a4 and then bishop b5.
And then
It's
queen a5.
yeah. Okay, so he's combating this idea. Okay.
Okay, Antonio picking up the piece, g4 pace, g4 trying to blast
Yeah.
things open, e5.
Look at this pawn
again.
tension. I love this. Yeah, that's the we need a Deveretsky for, is that right, for the endgame manual, but for Atomic.
Mhm.
You want to write that book?
Well, we'll see. Anyway, so okay, lots of things happening. Bishop a3, king c8, right? King b7. What? Okay, what is going on? B7 at some point, I assume. Okay, white is down to 11 seconds. Oh, queen b7 is a
Yes.
big threat. I think he's gonna get it done.
Yeah, the queen's now moving. Black can no, the queen's moving. It's going to be over. The queen just comes in and she's going to give mate. Wow, and he's going to do it with just so little time. Very nicely done. Very, very nicely done. And with that, he
All
takes a
right, so
2-0 lead. But it was very hairy there. I think it was very hairy there. Nonetheless, oh hey, cool. We have the main line. Queens. Oh, okay. We have one of the main lines. I do. So in these sorts of positions with the bishop on e6, I actually really like the ideas connected with b3 for white, trying to get bishop a3 and bishop to e7 as a mating idea.
Mm.
So okay, but you could take and then maybe go okay, even stronger.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I
So
like
for
white
those
a
of you who
lot.
are newer to this variant, you might think like, hey, white's hanging the queen, but in case black would take, both the bishops are going to disappear. I assume white would take here as well, winning the
Mhm.
queen and the knight in return. And in the resulting endgame, white is up a couple pawns, I believe 3. So I think that's why they're following this line.
Agreed. And a lot to. Ooh, we have some ideas connected to knight d6 here, maybe.
Mhm.
Knight d6 is a huge threat, no?
Yes, 96. Yeah, we lead a checkmate, king f8, queen e8. But what if
Mhm.
black just goes c7, c6? Or then this check?
Mm-hmm. And then the knight king can't go to f7. You take the bishops off. Or do you go knight f8? Okay, so there's c6. Are we going to see knight c7? Is the question. Is this enough for white on the attack? Knight c7, of course, looks very. Oh, he does king f8. Okay. Do you take the bishops or do you leave the knight and then try to bring more in? Again, I still my eyes lock into this e7 pawn, which is so bad for black, and I want to get after that pawn. I don't know if that's going to be something with. Right now, there are multiple ways to close the dark diagonal. The knight can do it, or the c pawn can do it in some lines. So knight c7, okay. Because if this is defensible, the next point of attack is going to be going after e7 for white, I would think.
Yep. All right. So here black faces a decision. You're either gonna go king f8 and keep the material, or queen takes c7. But you give up your queen. He gives up the queen, but he does have
Yes.
3 minor pieces to show for it.
Those dark squares, though, right? Like, how do you get? I guess there's knight c7 if queen a5. So, you do hold the dark squares for now, and now he's going to actually start closing off those bishops. Okay. I still am attracted to this b3 bishop a3 idea a little bit, but maybe there's just well, now you have to address the g4 square somehow.
Yeah,
He
I
addresses
kind
the
of like chances from a practical perspective. Maybe just kingside castles. Bishop h4,
Yeah.
by the way, seems like a big threat to me. Or, with a triple threat to f2. I don't know. I feel like this queen is not that powerful. I like black's play here.
I have loved watching as as these games go on, you liking the pieces more and more with black and less the material for white with the queen. I love it. I think you're absolutely right. Black is I also like black here. I thought there was maybe some way to I'm not sure. I would love to go back and look at that. It's maybe after the tournament I'll go back and look. Um I still think black's king is caught in the center. My eyes would more focus on the e7 pawn personally, but I
Mhm.
don't know if there was actually any way to practically do that. Here, black is much more comfortable, and the pieces are starting to have jobs, if you will.
Yep.
Oh,
All right, we do see Johan up 40 seconds on the clock. We saw in the last game Antonio managed to create a great comeback with just seconds and got the checkmate in just in time. But can he do it this time? 35 seconds is not that much.
no, and it might just be the deciding factor in a complex position like this. I think you have to start jamming pawns up the board to create lines of play and see what happens. And here we go.
Bishop h6, threatening checkmate on 1. That rook is going to have to move. Okay.
Queen is still
Maybe.
offside. Yeah, that's a great move. And now the lateral movement of the queen comes into play as well.
Bishop
As he cuts it
c4,
off.
he was threatening mate. You see Antonio really picking up the pace. Is he
Yes.
going to be fast enough to get it done?
He was able to do it last time. Do you think he's going to be able to create enough here and with less than 20 seconds on his clock here? Those bishops are nasty. I don't know if you even
Ooh.
want to let them live. I don't know that you can. This is very scary. Bishop back threatens knight takes rook with check, or bishop. Okay, the rooks come in. I like black here. How long does he have? How much time does he have left?
It's
Yeah.
13 seconds though, 12.
Yeah.
Ooh, everything is coming in now. And
Doesn't it just
he
kind of feel
can't
like there should
quite
be
make it to the black queen. Oh, queen
queen
e2. Ooh,
check?
that's a nice
Okay.
move.
Block. Yeah. This is maybe controlling just enough. It feels like black should have had something there.
But it's super difficult to navigate. If you allow one wrong queen check, you lose the game.
She's
Maybe
in,
like
and yeah,
4 seconds.
there's not enough
Really
time, but it
difficult
really
with low
felt like
time for
black.
black.
Ooh.
I think
Okay.
white's going to get it done. I think black simply does not have enough time. Although
No
now the rook
time.
is free to move again, but
Gone.
it's not enough. It's not enough.
No. Yeah.
Right.
That was really interesting. I feel like black had some way through there, but just very difficult to see. Very difficult to see.
Yeah,
And that
he was
brings
winning
us
in
to
the
a
end, but the time was just a little bit too low. All right, so we move on to the next game. So now it's 2-1 for Antonio. Let's see if Johan can get the win with the black pieces to force overtime. So knight h3, we thought that move is slightly dubious. Or dubious is a big
it's
word, but I feel like it throws away
tricky.
some of white's advantage to the h6.
It does, but it's also tricky. And of course, like in a position like this, you would rather have the knight on f3, potentially. But I think that this is still plenty to play for. And you're stepping away from some of the mainline stuff, which is also a benefit to itself. And there are a lot of traps. I do like the space for black. Hmm. What
Alright,
are we
so
trying
let's
to do
see.
here?
I have no idea.
A lot of ways to go
Yeah, I don't
wrong.
like the knight
A lot
here
of ways
that
to go wrong.
much. I think generally it
Ye-
is good to go to f3 and force black to go f6. But we'll see
Yeah,
what Antonio's going to cook up.
yeah. And maybe there might even be tricky ideas, like not I don't think these players are going to do stuff like that, but something like if queen f3, you can't go queen f6 because of moves like a knight g5, where h takes, the knight would detonate your queen and queen f7 mates, and otherwise queen takes queen, there's knight takes f7 mate. So you have to be aware of some of those ideas in positions like that.
Yeah, no, that's a very tricky idea indeed. Well, queen f3 here was out of the
Yeah.
question due to pawn takes e4, but
Yes.
definitely a nice
Yeah.
idea that you pointed out in case of queen f6, then knight g5.
Mhm.
And if takes, everything disappears, and then queen takes
Queen
f7.
f7.
So that's why
So,
e5 was
yeah,
played, setting up the idea of queen f3. And honestly, how do you deal with queen f3 here?
you move the f
Oh,
pawn, but it doesn't look.
yes, I wanted to ask you this, Greg.
Yeah.
Is en passant, is that possible in Atomic? And people even asked, is it forced? What are the implications of ramifications of en passant in this game?
I think I read somewhere on Anarchy Chess that en passant is forced, but since this is a variant, it is not forced in this variant. For those who are wondering, the square that detonates is where the pawn theoretically would be landing. So, for instance, and this is not an opening, this is not a thing, but if you just envision the starting board and you go c4, knight c6, c4, or pardon me, c4, knight c6, c5, b5, the en passant occurs on the b6 square. So everything detonates around the b6 square. So the knight would be taken, of course.
Uh-huh.
But if there were a piece on b4, it wouldn't detonate. Hopefully that answers.
Okay,
Yes.
well, yep. Okay, that
En
helps a
passant
lot.
is a thing.
We appreciate it. Okay, so we saw queen f3 and f5 as a response. Okay,
Mhm.
now I feel like en passant is obviously a move, but I feel like it doesn't help white that much. I guess black is just going to recapture with the knight, I assume, and they're going to be
And
doing quite okay.
Yeah, he'll just repossess the f6 square. And I don't think that there's anything on the light squares immediately. So very tricky. I still, my eyes look to this queenside long term for white, where they have the 2-1 pawn advantage. Right now, we're very far away from that super mattering, but with a position locked up like this, I can't help but think about those AB pawns long term for white. If pieces start falling off the board and not enough happens with this locked position, those guys start rolling and it could get very dangerous long term. I know we're a ways away from that mattering, but I just thought I'd point that out now.
Mm-hmm. Right, so knight f4 was played with the idea to go. Oh, wait, what? He just hangs the queen?
Threatening
Oh,
mate.
wait, but he was threatening mate.
Yeah, threatening mate. So,
Wow, things are getting super interesting now. He's hanging his queen, but I guess he's aiming for the idea of rook b7, which would threaten rook e7 checkmate. Maybe
yes.
black would be forced to give a lot of material back with a move like knight c7.
Yeah, you can defend with with queen c7, right? If rook b7, queen c7,
Oh,
can you
yeah.
defend? Yeah. He just
Rook
opposes
b8
before
was
that becomes an
played.
issue.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
he
rook
he just
b7,
he gives up the
nice
knight and a
move.
rook. So I like
Winning the
the
knight
black
and
queen
getting
long
the
term here.
piece.
The This looks very dangerous for both players, but I kind of like the activity of Black's queen potentially here.
Hmm.
Very, very tough to say. And of course, he doesn't take the material. The knight is much more valuable. So can he get along? Is there any way to break through? I don't like White's king. I don't like. He's trying to get some squares. Okay, that at least stops 5 ideas, but no, it doesn't. Right.
Wait, why did he just
It
hang the
doesn't
queen
stop
on
creating
one
5
move? I
ideas.
don't understand.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, we're in a time scramble. We see Johan has 20 seconds against 14. Johan has to win this one to force overtime. Can he do it?
It's a tall order. He's because castle's out of danger. And now the pawns. Okay. I don't. How does she? How did F3? F3. Okay, and then rook F2.
And by the way, keep in mind that Johan needs to win. A draw is not enough. He could have forced it with like queen e2 and a repetition. Ooh.
Ooh, the
This-
rook's coming in. It's over.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, and wait. He blundered knight takes
it wasn't
h6. What a win by Antonio.
Yeah. Oh man. Wow. Okay. Wow. So that is a win. He wins 3-1. He will advance to face Gravozen in the losers finals. Yeah.
Yep. By the way, fun fact, White actually missed checkmate on a few occasions here. Already here, bishop takes h6 would have won the game. So that was 1,
Oh wow.
2, but finally
Yeah.
he saw it with the knight. Yeah.
I was so locked in on what Black was doing as well. I don't even blame them. My goodness, that's hilarious.
Yeah. All right. So nice win for Antonio as he moves on to the losers final, where he's going to face Andrei Volgin. So Andrei Volgin, by the way, was following the games in the chat. I wonder if he was, scouting the players, trying to see their strategies, and if he's going to come up with a strategy of his own to counter that.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be an excellent one. I'm not sure. Again, I know I keep saying I'm not sure who the favorite is going to be, so I guess we have to pick. I'll go with Gravozen, hold and serve, just because he got pretty far already, and he's demonstrated he's very tough today. Seems to be in good form, but it's anybody's game. Do you have a choice between the two?
I would think that Gravozen should be the favorite. I mean, Antonio makes this one by the skin of his teeth, whereas Gravozen seemed a little bit more convincing earlier, so he's also my pick.
All right. Yeah. So I think Gravozen, he was extremely active in all the qualifiers. I was going through some of the games earlier, and I don't know if he must play under a different name. If someone in chat could let me know what he plays under elsewhere, because I think the Gravozen tag, I don't think has been active on Lichess in like 7 or 8 years, but clearly he's like very up to date. So I assume that there must be another name. Maybe someone out there knows who he is. Let me know. Wolf. Oh, he's Wolf. Oh, he's Wolf. Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, there you go. Thank you, Jake State Farm. That explains a lot. Yeah. I'm going to double down on that then and pick Gravozen, knowing that now. So that's good to know. Yeah. Well, friend's excellent.
And people in the chat are saying that he's really a top player, so definitely someone to look out for. Okay, so it's going to be interesting. The players are taking a bit of a break. I mean, it's been non-stop action so far, so they definitely deserve a little break here.
Absolutely. Also, don't miss this week's Community Freestyle Friday. Everyone in chat, every Friday, the event is open to everyone to compete in a Chess 960 style arena and win a diamond membership on Chess.com. So there's a lot of great variants out there. This one starts at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you should be trying your hand at the unpredictable variant that has the chess world talking. Use the command CommunityFF in chat or visit gochess.com/communityff for more information.
Yep, no, it's a great event. I mean, I also always like playing Freestyle Fridays, but the community also has an opportunity to play, so definitely make sure to take advantage of that. All right, so the games are going to get underway any second now, and I believe, Greg, so who is going to have the white pieces in the first game? Is that going to be,
Antonio.
I guess, Gravozen, yeah, because he came from the winner's bracket, so I guess he's the higher seed.
Yeah, he won the second qualifier. These are the guys who won the second and third qualifiers. You slide into the seed which qualifier you win. So actually, Antonio is the highest remaining seed, as Johan was the 1 seed. He won the first qualifier. but Antonio actually he took it by 1 point, I want to say. The second qualifier, I think Jake State Farm actually was right on his heels in that one. But we should be starting any minute now.
Yep,
And here we
and
go.
we are on our way. All right, so we have Antonio starting out with one knight h3. I wonder if Gravosin did some preparation for that. He met it with h6, just to show everyone real quick.
Mhm.
Knight h3 was played on the first move, h6 to stop knight g5, knight c3, e6 to stop knight d5, d4, bishop e4, pinning the knight, f5, gaining some space, stopping bishop takes d7. All right, so Greg, what do you make of this opening? Who do you like here? What are your thoughts?
I love that a lot of pieces are staying on the board for black and their chances. White, of course, continues to have a lot of the pressing normal tactical motifs. But I think if you're, especially if you want to have a game with black, this is a great choice. You're already happy to see knight h3, I think, on move 1 when you're trying to get a game. So I like the chances for both players here. I like black a little bit in these more than the main theoretical stuff. So
Yeah, I also like this move f4, threatening f3, which would hit the queen and threaten checkmate on g2. So white
mhm.
needs to address that perhaps with a move like f3, but then I think we can argue that black has gained some ground that should be to their advantage. And also, black is up half a minute on the clock, so I think they can be quite happy about how the game is proceeding so far.
I would agree. And f3 kind of has to. I think it has to be played. But now there are some holes that are starting to open up around that white king, and you start having some sneaky ideas. You even have ideas of bishop e1 here, bishop e1, bishop f2, bishop um, sliding right in again.
Yeah.
There are and making white give up material, but white of course has threats coming, so you always have to be a bit cognizant of that as well. But it would definitely be on my radar here.
All right, so knight f6 has been played. I don't think this is ever gonna work, but as an idea, maybe like in the future, knight g4, take followed
Good
by
point.
f3. I think it's
Yeah.
too much. Like with the FL opening, I think it's gonna work out in white's favor. But just an idea. Okay, so white took on
Yeah,
e6, winning the knight and the pawn, and b5. Wow, why
to stop
b5?
queen
Explain this to
to
us,
stop
Greg.
stopping queen c4, I think.
Hmm.
Controlling those light squares. Although you could have met queen c4 with some other moves, but I do think what is the role of the black bishop that I'm missing in terms of this idea of bishop e8, bishop or bishop e1, bishop f2, bishop g1? You don't want to go that way, right? Because bishop takes bishop. Well, you still win the queen, but I'm wondering if this is just not the right idea at all.
By the way, Antonio is now 45 seconds against 2 minutes for
Wow.
Gravosin. Really dangerous spot to be in. So unless he unleashes a checkmating attack, he's in big trouble. He goes e6. E7 is a big threat. That's why
Okay.
queen e7 was played. But Greg, he needs to cook up a checkmating attack very soon, or otherwise I think he's just gonna... What? He just hangs the queen?
Well, the bishop would get removed too, right? For black, that incredibly annoying dark square bishop, which I'm gonna have to go back and look. I'm wondering what the if rook takes was just the move or what, but I really like. Okay, he does go d or e3. Okay.
Okay, I'm wondering why... Okay, anyway. Okay, so black is up a queen for a knight, but it's far from over, especially if white can get knight f4 in. That being said, I feel like white should not have enough here, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I tend to agree that pawn is incredibly annoying. And how do you free your queen without that becoming too much of an issue? I think you shove the pawns first and foremost to activate the king's rook, and then how do you get your queen's rook in if needed? Because you're going to get lines of play against this white king. Yeah, and
Ooh,
there it
that's
is.
a nasty...
That
That's
that's
it.
that's
Yeah, rook
curtains.
f3
That's
can be
curtains.
taken. Okay, so
That
nice
is
win here by Gravosin as he wins the first game with the black pieces. And now
yeah,
it's up to Antonio to try to strike back.
absolutely. And we get this 2 knights open, so let's see if we get one of those main lines. Nope. Okay. Okay, we do get a main line, but not the one we had talked about earlier. This is yep. I think we have actually seen this before here in this tournament, so let's see where we deviate. Oh,
All right, so let's see. Bishop e4 has
bishop.
been played.
Mm-hmm.
H4, just grabbing more
Space.
space, typical atomic move.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is generally the move here for black? Well, what do you do here with black? I have no idea.
Yeah, you don't want to. I don't think you want to take on g4 ever, because the activity that white gets in return for the pawn is just too much on those light squares with the king as it is. I'm not sure how you want to proceed unknotting the queen side. I think that so you got the two things you have to think about with black, right? How do you activate the pieces on the queen side? Is the king safe enough in the center of the board, or do you have to start considering moves like castles, which I think in this position would not be advisable because you would just go knight to g5. So for white, so I'm not sure. Black has some tough decisions coming up. I think he's going to go. Yeah, he's going for play instead. Now maybe he is threatening to take, and now rook f2 is an idea. But there are many. There are the f pawn moves for white and defends that threat. But the rook is improved now for black.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right, so g6. Okay, so let's see what white is going to do. Bishop g5 could be played, but or no, I guess f takes g4. Yeah, yes, that would be a bad move. So he decides to take, but what do you think of that one?
I'm not seeing the vision for white here. The longer we go into this, the more I'm starting to like black's long term of getting these pieces out. But f4, I don't know. You can blockade that. Oh no, you can't blockade that because then h5 comes. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, d5. We could en passant if needed,
Yeah.
and the explosion be centered around d6, so nothing else. No other pieces are lost there.
Wait, he's sacrificing his queen? Like, is this good
Yeah,
for white in case a rook takes a4?
and does he lift his rook to get to the f file there? What's the follow up? Why does he like this? Bishop.
I
Okay,
guess you do move the bishop quickly, like bishop h3, followed by rook f1.
yeah, and it's kind of
Also, by the way, I
behind
think
me.
Ravosin is really trying to play the clock. He's still more than 2 minutes,
Yeah.
whereas Antonio's already below a minute on the clock here.
Yeah, which is becoming a dangerous theme for him. Very dangerous theme. All right.
All right.
Yeah, so he does take.
Because
So
he
let's
does
see
take
what
the queen.
there's
Bishop
and
h3.
targeting that e6 pawn is really nasty because it makes a lot of black's developing moves dangerous. So
30 seconds for Antonio. Rook f1 is a big threat, I think. Followed by a rook invasion along the f-file. I think white's going to win, simply because of the time situation.
yeah, I tend to agree. E6 falls. Yeah, and now he tries to hold it together, but with the pawn advancing as well, he'll have to give up more material if that e pawn starts moving. Right now, yeah, he's gonna have to give up more. He's gonna block. He's gonna try to blockade it. Does white have? He goes f2. Yeah, he stays away from all the pawns. He doesn't want to castle and be near things because that's too dangerous. So he's gonna run his king away and then bring the other rook in. Okay.
Still, anything can happen. I mean, this white king
9,
is a
10
bit unsafe.
seconds.
Rook g8, trying to go g5, and black open some files.
Close it.
It's not over
He's gonna
yet,
close.
but it's of course very tricky for black with 11 seconds.
I think White's got this as well. Okay, he stops White's ability to lock the position up before playing for g5 himself. Just trying to get the rook active, I imagine. But White, yeah, it can possess here. I don't really see how Black can do anything in 8 seconds. I mean, you can even bring the other rook over and then slide the rook to f3. Yeah, this and then take the rooks off and. I mean, everything here is fine for White because he's going to win on time. I think, no matter what the position is. Yeah, just bring the light squares. The bishop can't do anything. Now the pawn is running. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Nice win there by Gravosin on time. He really played the clock from start to finish and takes a 2-0 lead. And now it's up to Antonio. He's in a double must-win situation.
Yep, and it's a very long road ahead of him. He has to win back-to-back games, win a tiebreaker, and then his reward would be going to a finals where he has to win the first match and a reset. So there's no steeper path than the one we're looking at right
Yep.
now.
All right. Okay, knight c3, c6, a typical response to knight c3, stopping the knight d5 jump. All right,
Sometimes
e4,
the knights
opening
come
up
in
this
anyway.
line for the queen. e5, okay.
I like
Check can
the
just be
holes
met
that are
with
paired.
g6.
Yeah. The holes popping up I like for white here. Let's see how he tries to pounce on them.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Knight's under
Fine.
attack. Is there anything... There's no cool tactic or anything for white here, yeah?
Not that I'm seeing,
Oh,
but the knight sometimes, like we
goes
were
knight
saying, the knight
d5.
still sometimes comes to b5. And this is like kind of, sometimes you do want to give up material to pry open, particularly diagonals or files, diagonals especially. And now those light squares, oh my goodness, those light squares. Yeah, this is very energetic. This is very, very energetic. And black's pieces are still sitting at home while these light squares are becoming very, very dangerous. Of course,
I'm still
generally
having a
when
hard time buying it, though. He's down 2 knights, but apparently this is the way
yeah,
to go in Atomic.
yeah. I mean, generally, when you see an idea like this, you want to see the queen check on h5, and then the queen slides to b5. But that's obviously not possible. But generally, when you see these sorts of ideas where you're sacrificing material on b5, the queen has total board mobility. That's not the case here, so I'm very curious to see how white follows through with this. I agree with you. It's kind of hard to buy at a glance. Although those center pawns
Mm-hmm.
also, I mean, d5 at some point could be, well, not anymore. You want to keep the light squares, I guess, towards the king now.
Okay, so let's see
Yeah,
what
this is
white's going to
tough.
do. I mean, he is down 2 minor pieces at the moment, and he's down 40 seconds on the clock. Queen b1 with the idea to go
Yeah.
queen a2, because the immediate queen b3 would have been met with this. But I assume there's
Down.
bishop e6 de. Uh-huh.
Yep. Down on the
But
clock, down
maybe
material,
rook
down 02. This is a
f7.
tough spot. This is a tough spot. Hmm.
Yep. Rosen has been playing the clock throughout this match. He's also going to try to do so in this game,
So
as
fast,
Antonio
yeah.
is again behind.
Tall order. It's a tall order. I'm not sure that it was
Wait, queen
quite the
a2?
right.
Wait, what do you do in case of queen a2?
You have d5.
I guess now bishop e6.
Yeah. 6, bishop f5. Takes though. Takes rook takes is the threat. You can't take the pawn. What I talked about. Rook f1 would end the game if pawn takes f6.
Yeah.
So still queen a2 or queen. Interesting. Okay, so he jumps ship on that.
Bishop b4, I predicted his move, threatening checkmate on 1, so g3.
Logical.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Bishop
not sure.
f3.
I'm still not seeing the vision for white here. Blockade. Which way though? The knight. Okay.
I like the idea of blockading with the knight, so that at least you keep your most powerful
Queen
piece,
forward.
your queen, free to maneuver. And again, Gravosin is up a minute on the clock. This is looking tough for Antonio.
So there may be ideas connected. The queen right now is reinforcing this dark square pawn chain, but there could be ideas down the road where black sacrifices the bishop to. Yeah, okay, there we go. The idea is now he sacrifices the bishop to weaken the base of that pawn chain to try to create squares for his queen to enter. I thought that it needed to be delayed, but I guess we could do it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's going to take the c file and start chipping away. I think black is looking really good here. He still has some work to do to find his way in, but certainly black is the one playing with all the momentum.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. So let's see. Rook b1 has been played. White catching up on the clock, by the way. Antonio really picking up the pace. He's now only down like a little more than 10 seconds.
That's huge for him.
What is queen
This luck has
b4?
not been his friend.
Wait, what is queen b4? Can you explain?
Rook,
Wait, and why was it not taken? I don't understand.
the rook enters, right? But then the second rook enters after rook's trade. I don't know. It seems like black gets active, but it also would have been tempting to take for me at least. Yeah, just block her
I don't.
again.
Wait, but now he took. But it seems like he took the queen in the worst possible way, blowing up both his
Yeah,
rooks.
I agree. I thought that he would just continue to block the queen off, but then again, maybe he's afraid of a repetition in a position where he has to win. This doesn't look
Right.
good.
Ooh, the rook comes
This
in.
doesn't look good.
Especially because black only needs to draw, right? So he can just give checks. He
Yeah.
doesn't need to win.
Well,
He
he's
can
gonna
just give
win.
checks.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
and that's
yeah.
checkmate.
The king can't run away from the pawns, and that's that. Whew. That was a 3-0.
All
That was
right.
nasty. Very
Yep.
nasty. And he earns himself a
So
spot in the
nice.
finals.
Yeah, so nice and convincing win by Gravosin, and now we're going to move on to the finals, where he will face Michael Henry.
A rematch. One that went to tie breaks last time they faced off, so we can expect another excellent match between them, I think. I am going to go with the boring choice, by the way. I think that Henry Michael is going to hold serve. He's held serve all day. I'm not going to go against the grain. Even if we get a reset, I think he's going to take at least one of the next two matches, probably the first one, but you never know. You never know. What do you think? Do you think we're seeing a finals reset or a total comeback?
I think we'll see a reset, and then that Henry will win anyway. But yeah, you made a very good point. Henry has been winning every single game with white pieces. It seems like it's really difficult to break him, so to speak. So yeah, he might just win 3 games with white, and that might just be it. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah. I think that he will be starting with the black pieces, though. So it will actually be in Gravosin's court with the white pieces here, assuming he would take the white pieces provided a tiebreak. So, because the Gravosin is the 3 seed and Henry is the 4. So.
Right, but earlier white, Henry did have an extra white in their match, right, or not?
Yeah, maybe I've got the seeds wrong in my head. It's very possible. But either way, we're about to start play, and I'm very excited for this one. 2 excellent players battling it out, and for the title. Let's see.
Yep, and we have a prediction in the chat. Who wins the grand final? Michael will win, or will there be a reset? Feel free to gamble your channel points right now. Let's see. Are you gonna do so, Greg?
Yeah, I'm going to throw in a prediction right now. Why not? How many points am I going to put on this? Let's see. Predict with. Let's go for the reset. I think there's a lot of people wanting a reset here. Do I bet against the people or do I bet my heart? I don't know. Let's see. Let's make it fun. I will bet against the people and put 50,000 on Michael will win. So there you go, guys. If you really believe in the reset, you can pour some points in there and take all of my channel points.
Yep. All right. Yeah, there's still a few minutes left to predict. I guess eventually I'll come through with a prediction as well. I'll just wait for the people to put in their bets, and then I'll come in with one big bet and shake everything up.
Yeah. I like how many channel points are you sitting on? I see some people talking about what kind of points they're working with here. I try to be smart about my bets for channel points bets. I'm sitting on a little over 500,000 right now. So
I used to have more than 1 million, but I think I lost a big channel points bet at some point. I'm sitting at 815. How many points do you have, Greg?
Just about a little over 500,000, minus the ones I just bet. So
okay.
Keep watching, keep earning, keep betting. That's fun. So we'll be starting soon as well. It's kind of like normal. We have some people explaining here in chat. It's atomic chess. If you're just popping in, you're just in time to catch the finals. The variant is that when a piece captures another piece, the piece that's capturing explodes, and everything on that square and the 8 squares around it are also eliminated except for pawns. So very dynamic, explosive. tactical variation. And you're in for a treat if you're just arriving.
Absolutely. Somebody asked in the chat, why are Hikaru and Magnus not playing? Are they afraid? They are afraid. They are afraid of the boom. I mean, Atomic Chess, very scary variant. Definitely not easy to play. Oh, yeah, that's why they are not playing. But we are off. We once again have this variation that we saw earlier. Do you think Henry might have? Well, I think we see our answer right here. I was going to ask if he studied this, but he took a little pause, so maybe not.
Yeah. It's interesting. Since we both talked about this, if you have a weakness, that's the time to spend your break time shoring it up. Otherwise, you do just want to make sure that your mental is right. But he's liking what he's getting, I guess. Bishop G. This seems not so fun for Black.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
I
White is
like.
starting to win the game on the spot with bishop takes d8. So I assume the queen has to move to
Yeah,
wait, but if you move the queen, there's queen h5, g6, queen h6, which looks really scary. So what do you even play here?
Queen C7 to shore up if Queen H. So you have Queen to.
Oh, queen
You can at least
g7,
cover.
but
Yeah,
that does lose a
exactly.
rook.
It's bad. Yeah, but it's the lesser of two evils, right? I think
Right.
we're getting that.
At least you don't lose the game.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think that there was a different defense. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for Black.
Right.
I think
Well,
you just
it's
shove
looking
on
pretty
another
good
rook
for
comes in.
Ravosin. So I'm gonna
Bishop
put in my
bishop
bet
E7.
and say that
This is
bishop
this
e7,
is not
nice
good.
move.
This is not good. I think we're gonna see.
Yeah.
Let's try to come up with a defense. Let's not be fatalistic here. Let's try to come up with a defense for Black. Because it looks like he's under a tremendous amount of pressure.
No, this looks lost to me. I mean, he's down a rook. The knight has to move. Let's say the d7, h takes g6. H takes g6
I mean,
right
that still
now
loses
wins
the
it.
night.
Rook
Yes,
h7.
the
No,
rook
this is
comes
going to be a win for White, and it's already 1-0 for
Yeah.
Gravosin, who is coming out of the gate with vengeance. He wants revenge.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. I love to see it. I know chat would love to see that finals reset, take all my points away. That's good. That's good. Let's see if we go for the two knights, as we've been seeing a lot here. Why is White not moving? Oh, he's gonna okay. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wow. What do we have here? So, some interesting theory. Wow, Black sacrifices their queen, but
Has to.
Gravosin has
It's totally fine.
placed all of this quickly, so I guess he is confident in this line.
Yeah, this is a very tricky thing. Black has a lot of trappy ideas. Now, normally for this sort of stuff where you allow this knight d6, queen takes d6, you kind of want the d pawn to be removed with it. So I think that maybe that's a slight minus from like just a general theory position from Black. You would rather there not be a d pawn for that particular continuation. But I think right now Black should be happy enough. White's king is still awkward. That knight on f2 is a bother, and Black is not restricted in any way. Like he's going to have some very free-ranging development, whereas we've seen a lot of positions where Black is very cramped. And I don't know about you, just in Atomic and in regular chess, I prefer not to be cramped. I know some people operate just fine with no space, but I prefer to have range for my pieces.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think most people do. Ooh, and okay, I'm looking at this idea of knight e5 to f3. I don't think White can allow that. I think it's going to have to be stopped somehow, maybe with like bishop e2. But
This move stops it too.
I think maybe from a objective perspective, maybe White's better. He has the extra exchange and a pawn. But like I said, Black has a lot of pieces. There's a lot of activity. And also, it's very instructive that Black is in no rush whatsoever to take this rook on h1. This knight is a very good restrictive piece, as you said earlier. And so we should just keep it on the board. And once again, I'm looking at this idea of knight e5, f3.
Pawn d5. Pawn d5. Pawn d5 explodes the knight. Is it too dangerous, opening up the e-file for the king? I'd like your idea. I just would have to calculate.
Yeah, never mind. Well, I just missed e takes d5. Never mind.
Well, it still might be something because that e-file opens up, so there's maybe some play there. But because I like the idea, but I suspect that's what the critical move. Yeah. But here we have.
We'll see. Okay, he
Yeah,
takes on
those pawns are
g4.
menacing in front of White's king. I know that's weird to say, but like
If he
once those
can,
guys start advancing, it's kind of annoying. And those bishops are
hmm
waiting. I like black here. I like black's position. Um,
This e-pawn could be annoying though, as it's
yes,
marching
it
up the
can.
board.
Definitely can. Do you bring the knight in then?
I'd
And is
say,
there anything?
yeah, I don't know. I'd say it's anyone's game at this point. He's looking at e takes f6.
Yeah,
Bishop. Wait, what? Bishop takes
I'm
bishop
not
f6 and then bishop
sure.
g5. I don't understand.
Me neither. He's
Okay.
maybe he's got some other moves within those lines he's considering, and those are just the captures. But this looks again.
Wait, what
I
are you doing,
still
case on
like
rook
black.
e2?
Yeah, I really like black. Yeah, that's a nasty move as well. Threatening mate. Bishop check. Where does the king go? Now the light square bishop has to come in. The knight comes in. This again, I like black a lot. That rook on e1 is a menace. The g pawn is a menace. White would need a Hail Mary here, I think. I really like black here.
Yeah, rook e2, rook f2 looks forced to me. And then maybe push the g pawn. Is that an idea? Bishop
Definitely.
e5, I think, is met with. But black has so many tricky ideas. Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, can you get away with that? Check?
Check.
There's no way, right?
No way.
Check.
Nine. Yeah, this has to be curtains, yeah? This must be curtains.
Check.
Wow, he's a runner. He's a runner.
Oh, king g6, rook f6 is GG. So where do you go
Yeah.
after rook f? Wait, what? Why not
He's
rook
just
f4?
boxing, creating a box. Because now rook check is actually
Hmm.
just going to be made on the spot.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
would be a huge win for Gravozin. Breaking
Yeah.
with the black pieces and taking a 2-0 lead. I mean, that's going to be a tall order from Henry to come back from. But fortunately for
Mhm.
Henry, he does have that second life.
Do you think that in some ways, do you prefer? I know this is a weird question. Do you prefer continuing to play and staying in the rhythm rather than when you win your way through a double elimination bracket and you get rest, but at the cost of that, you might lose your flow state? Now, I guess it's different from
Mhm.
player to player. What do you prefer? Do you like having the break and being in the position of strength because you have the extra life, or do you actually kind of enjoy having like that continued momentum?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, well, obviously, I would prefer winning the winner's final and making it to the grand final because then, in the very worst case, you're already guaranteed second place.
Mhm.
And it is nice to have that extra life. On the other hand, I think it can be an advantage to be in the winning mood. So match with quite a bit of.
Okay. So I think we might have lost Bach here for a second, but we've still got chess going. The question was too profound. He was about to give us some of his GM insights, which I think his internet realized for his own safety, he can't give us too many of the tips. So, all right, White's got a butting position here, that annoying knight on f7, but Black has this excellent pressure on the dark squares. White is Now there are actually ideas connected to like queen a6 here, because pawn takes removes the queen off the board for black as well. And moves like queen to b5 as well don't hang the queen for white. Just like throwing it out there as like a conceptual thing to understand about atomic is that the queen is not hanging on those squares because, like in the instance of queen b5 for white, if black were to take, the queen and the bishop would explode as well. But of course, white has other plans in mind revolving around the king side. So we will hone in on that with us. So I think the queen trade is completely fine for white. Um, the question is, do you go to c4 and ask black? Yeah, you go to c4 and ask black to make the trade and get the move back. I think this is, again, we've talked about this before in other positions. Hey,
Hello, welcome.
welcome back. Things are heating up.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think I got cut out because I was rambling a little bit too much, but I was basically saying that I would prefer to come in warm.
Mhm. Yeah, I happen to agree. I like staying in. once I hit that flow, especially like in blitz time control, it's much nicer to just stay in that than get cold and try to warm back up. But yeah, the extra life,
Mhm.
it's hard to say no to.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so what do we think of this position? We see that Gravozin, okay, material's even, but he has more space. I would think that White has the better chances here, right?
I would agree. I would agree. I like white more here. Um, I think white's king is just incredibly safe. It's difficult to come up with too many lines of play for black that alter that. Whereas there's very clear plans of pushing the f pawn in the right moment for white, connected to freeing up, and this will free up the rooks, the bishop. Everything becomes very free for white. So black is actually countering this in the center. um, but I like white here. I like white a lot here.
I think White's just crushing here, no? Rook f1 is coming on the next turn. I don't see how you can possibly defend. Rook f1. Isn't this about to be GG?
I think so. I'm trying to see if there's any desperado attacking ideas, but I'm not seeing anything. All of black's pieces are so bad, so passive, and still, yeah. The rook comes in, and do you
Jack?
shuffle? How knight's coming in
Yeah.
though? It's going to be mate. Yeah, the knight. Yeah, it's actually just going to be mate in a couple moves.
Yeah, that is a statement win for Gravozin as he forces the reset. But wow, what a match! I mean, Henry so far had won almost every single white game, but now he goes down 3-0 in the first grand final. He's really going to have to, improve his game in the reset.
Absolutely, but you know what? I think he was a little cold coming in, but nothing wakes you up more than an 0-3 loss. So I think we're going to see a tight battle that I suspect we're going to go the distance in this reset. I think we're going to get a fifth game. Um, I'm excited for it. What are you thinking is going to happen here? Have you changed your prediction in terms of who you think is going to win?
Well, I did say that. Well, I think I said that Gravozin was going to force the. I forgot what I said. Uh, Perhaps I
You
did
did
say that
say
Gravozin
reset.
would force the reset, but that Henry would win anyway. I mean,
Mhm.
now I would think that Gravozin is just going to win it all. I mean, he won 3-0. It's hard to say why he's not going to win again, right? I mean, Henry just got completely crushed in the matches.
Yeah, that was an extremely surprising result. But yeah, I'm gonna put the bank my thoughts that he's now fully awake and warmed up, and we're gonna see a fifth game here in the rematch, the reset. What do you all think, chat? People there? I see people talking in
Mhm.
chat. What do you guys think is gonna happen?
All right, the games are going to get underway any second now. By the way, looks like I won my prediction. Maybe we can get another prediction in the chat to ask who's going to
Take
win
more
the
of my
grand final
points.
reset. Okay, so if you're Henry, right, and you just got crushed 3-0, what do you tell yourself in the break? What do you tell yourself to come back from this?
um, I think you just do some stretches. For me, like an 0-3 loss, goodness, that one is a mental for me. I think you just stretch, you shake it off, you trust your prep, you trust your best stuff. No holds barred here. This is it, right? You were playing a little bit closer to the vest because you knew you had the extra life. Well, now you don't. So
Mhm.
whatever your best moves are, or your best ideas, anything you want to dust off, you got to go for that first prize here. So hold nothing back. Hold nothing back and let it rip.
Mhm. Yeah. And do you think that maybe Henry relaxed a little bit, thinking like, "Oh, I have that extra life. Even if I lose, I can still come back." Do you think? I mean, I doubt it, but do you think that could be a factor?
I do. I don't think it's a huge factor. I'm not going to say that anyone gets complacent, um, but I have noticed, especially in matches with resets, when things go wrong quickly and you have the extra life, it tends to pour pretty fast, and we tend to see some pretty dominant reset forces, where the player kind of I don't know, I don't want to say like anyone checked out or stopped trying or anything like that. That's obviously not the case. We saw the games, but I think that you because you have that safety net, um, I do think it has some impact. Maybe not a lot, but some.
Yeah, no, that's a fair estimation. Yeah, sometimes they think like, okay, even if I lose this match, I have another one. But
Mhm.
it's a bit of a pity to just let go of your one life that easily. Anyway, the games are off, and here we see that Henry plays a completely different opening Wow, the players are blitzing out the moves. Actually, the
This is
same
where the
opening
queen
that we
sack.
saw earlier,
Queen
and
sack. Queen sack.
uh,
Yeah.
with the queen sack.
So
And
this
in
is
the
red.
earlier game, Henry did e takes f3, but here he does not.
Yeah, I don't think so. How did the first game go out of this position after the queen sack line? We spent a lot of time looking at it. I'm trying to recall what was played.
So
But
what was
this,
played was e takes f3, and then bishop f5, bishop d6, rook f1, king e7,
Right.
something along those lines. But anyway, e takes f3.
But-
People asked earlier, is en passant forced? Henry said no.
only in regular chess, not in atomic.
Mhm. Yep. Okay, prediction is up. Who will win the Oh no, wait, those are my channel points. Okay, thank you very much. Take.
Getting
Yep,
closer
I
back to
double.
that 1 million mark.
Yeah, now I have 954, so almost there again.
Yeah, you're welcome for the donation, guys. Everybody who won. But you know what? I'm happy to lose because we get more chess. And I'm happy that we're getting the reset.
Absolutely. Here we saw some errors by Henry pointing out earlier, like f5, rook f8, or moves he's looking at. So let's see. Henry's looking at the move rook f8. Aha, possibly followed by bishop takes f4. Is that his idea?
Yeah, and freeing this battery. That's a pretty nasty idea. What do you do with white? If you push the pawn and then play bishop f5, it's all under control, but also this. There's not an easy way to get the queen in. Forget it. And white is going to start freeing those queenside pieces soon as well, and or push pawns, actually.
By the way, in the meantime, the next prediction is up. So who will win the grand final? Is it going to be Michael or is it going to be Volgin? Feel free to make your predictions in the chat and bet those channel points. It's going to be interesting.
All right. I'll go against Chad again. We'll go Hernandez. It ended. I can't bet. Never mind.
No, the prediction is still ongoing. We still have another
Oh,
50 seconds.
Okay. Let's see here.
I'm just waiting for Chad to make their predictions, and then maybe I'll come in big with. Yeah, people believe in Gravoza now, yeah, because he won so convincingly in the first match.
Yeah, and I mean, momentum is real in chess, especially in quicker time controls. But hopefully, that little moment to catch his breath, we're going to see no matter what we see, I hope we don't see another 0-3 or 3-0, depending on who you're rooting for.
All right. Okay. Well, let's see what's going to happen. Okay, the predictions are in. Anyway, okay, so we see that knight has disappeared. It sacrificed itself on a d4 square. Okay, so black has a queen, but white has a bishop, knight, and rook for it. Black is looking at the move bishop to a3, followed by d4. Wow. And I think it has to be taken, probably with the bishop. Then he wants to follow with d4. Really interesting stuff by Henry here.
Yeah, I love this move d4. This is a great spot by you as well. I don't see a great way to meet what's happening here. Let's see how white tries to navigate this. And, well, for now, the pawn is actually kind of nice where it is for black. A lot of white's ideas are stymied here.
So what do you think about this line he was looking at? He was looking at d takes c3, then rook c1, turning rook takes c7 in case of c6 takes, and concluded that line would be good for white. So instead he goes b6. All right, what do we do now? Like maybe rook d1? Yeah, I guess d3 perhaps to close the d file.
Keep it closed. Keep it closed. Now blockaded. Now where do you? It's actually not so easy to run white's king anywhere and get that king's rook in the game. Because obviously I think you want to try to get we're just going to push pawns. Okay, that's dangerous, but makes sense.
He goes g4. Black is down to 10 seconds. Henry needs to get a quick checkmate here, or he's simply going to lose the game on time. Let's see what he...
Under 10.
Okay, g5. Let's see what he. Okay,
5.
takes on b5.
Yeah. Here comes the knight. Everything's off. Time. Pretty
I
much
don't
every
think
move
Black
has
is
to
gonna
be.
make it. He's down a rook, and he's down to 5 seconds. This has to be a win for Gravozin. He's trying.
He block. Yeah, and now the other rook activates. The pawns come forward.
f6.
He gets
f6.
Yeah.
Not over yet. He's gonna pre-move the king in.
Yes. Queen check. Queen mate. Or
Now you move the king away, I assume.
yeah. And
Queen e2.
now mate. Yeah. Very
All
nice.
right,
And
now.
so little time too. These guys picked up the pace there. Very, very nice.
Yeah, nice win for Gravozin as he continues his comeback. I mean, he just won 4 games in a row. Tough spot that Henry's in right now.
Yeah, the that momentum is only getting bigger, like a snowball running down the hill. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm still hoping for a tense finals match here, but that light is dimming. It does look like we might have a runaway again, the way it's looking.
Yeah, Gravozin playing so quickly, he really has these original ideas. Okay, what do
Mhm.
we make of this one? White is down a knight for a pawn, but the knight on c7, we know how annoying it is, and white can at any point take on e6. What do you think of this position?
I agree. I think that knight on c7 is cause for white to be pretty pleased. There's not too much around white's king right now, so I mean they can move very quickly, and I do like the lines of play that are opening up against black's king. I have to like white a little bit here.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Um,
knight e4, that knight had to
yeah,
go, and now at
I
e4,
mean
the second knight comes in.
even here you have a couple different ways to address any. I, I don't know that I really want to give up my queen, so I'm looking at ideas connect. Yeah, okay, bishop b5. I'm not
So
sure that knight is so dangerous on f3, or even if he takes on c2. I think everything is completely under control for white.
yeah, and I assume white is looking at the idea of bishop takes d7, blowing up the queen and the bishop on c8.
Yes. I mean, you lose the knight too, but that's small change for everything you're getting.
Right. Okay, so bishop e4 check. Okay, if you take, you also blow up your own bishop. Can we? You go c3. Uh-huh.
Okay. Slightly distracted by my cats telling me it's almost time for dinner, but they'll have to wait. It's atomic chess time.
Yeah.
All
Knight
right.
f3 check. Okay, so we see the white arrow by Henry. He's considering the queen sack. Let me remove my own arrows because I want to see what Henry's thinking about. He's the expert here. He sacrificed the queen. Wow.
Yeah. Still like white. Those pieces flowing into the position. Black has very few moves. I think that's just going to detonate, and then he has to. Yeah, okay. So, but suddenly things are clearing up, and I'm wondering about this menacing potential king side for black versus a potential runner on white. I don't see how white can handle this though.
Yep.
I'm not sure how to
Uh,
make to assess this properly.
All right.
I
So f5, g5. Let's see. What does the material count? Is one side up, or is pawns are equal?
Pawns are equal. I kind of like, and black's e pawn is currently a passer, but both the bishop and king are in position to blockade. Whereas creating a passer for white is not so clear. Yeah, so how do you even get the rooks in actually for anyone?
Yep. All right. So
Hmm.
king e2.
Black is going to put
Um,
his rooks over on the A and B and then play b5 maybe b5 b4 if not takes. I don't know.
yep.
How do you?
That makes sense.
Yeah, very tough. I assume that this is equalish. If there's an idea here deeper than what I'm seeing, it's not coming to me yet. So he wants to maybe you just push the pawn, stop the rook from entering. Yeah. Okay, now
All
you.
right. So
Okay.
d5.
The question is,
Okay.
do you bring your other rook? Do you bring your other rook over, or do you? Because I don't know that you want to open things up with black having the position of the rooks as they are. So you may want to bring the h rook over, but then you run into does black just push the pawn, and does that become problematic in some way? I'm not sure.
All right, so let's see. So b5. Okay, so I guess you can take.
Yeah, rook takes, and then
Make it.
rook over, and then pawn pushes on c5, and then the d pawn is a runner in that variation. So you don't want to do that with black. Are we just going to see
Are
a
we gonna
draw?
see a draw? Yeah, I was about to say. Oh, I don't like the fact that Gravosin just allowed this. I guess there might not be anything better for Henry, but it looks scary.
It does. It does.
Wait,
But
but
I'm not.
what if he went rook h? Yeah. Yes.
This is
And now the second rook, or just rook c7?
rook c7, but it's not clear that there's a win there. If there is, I'm not seeing it. I think we're going to see a draw. What's our time situation? 8 seconds to
Ooh,
32. I guess
there's
we're
no
not going to see
time.
a draw.
Henry has to go for the flag.
Yeah, we're going to see a flag.
Right.
We're going to see
Yeah,
a
there's no
flag.
Gravosin makes this with 5 seconds.
No.
Check. Oh, that's mate. Yep. All right, nice win there by Henry. And
And he's back on the
he
board.
ties up the match. I mean, huge win for him for his confidence
Necessary.
and to really stop the bleeding and come back in this one.
Absolutely, you have to. I mean, you can't go down 0-2 again. So I think that maybe we're back on track. It's still anybody's game. It's still anybody's tournament. But I'm happy to see Henry make a stand here, and we are off again with a pretty typical idea. Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So Black is looking at knight e4 takes and queen f6. Is that what he's looking at? And he's looking at knight e6.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. What is the idea here? So is he going to go queen f6 as he was pointing out earlier?
Yeah, I think he should. I don't see what the other plan would be, unless he has something connected to d5. But
Mm-hmm.
okay. So he does go d5. He has great pawns, great central control, great space, but knight f7 is going to come, and now the queen comes to where? f6, loses to e5, knight e5, castles. Now you push f4. Okay,
Okay,
he
I would
sees.
think that this is dubious for Black, but you have ideas of taking followed by here. He goes why
There is.
h5? Can you explain this to me?
Maybe he was worried about some piece getting on that light diagonal, or queen h5 herself. But I thought the queen would have to come block the rook if pawn takes, or maybe not.
Yeah, I thought like in case Black would have taken here, you're forced to give up your queen, right? Or not?
Yeah, I
Yeah, and
thought
there we have
so.
it, queen f3.
And now we see it anyways. That's clever. Again, trying to get the move back.
Yeah.
I guess you could leave it though. Yeah.
Okay, queen g4.
Because rook
mate.
check doesn't matter. Exactly. Because check doesn't matter. Or check does matter, but you can respond to check by exploding their king.
Oh, and Henry just resigned. Yep. Okay, so Gravosin takes a 2-1 lead. Henry has to come back now with white pieces, or otherwise Gravosin is our champion. So let's see how
Yeah,
he
and what
will
a
do
way
so.
he stormed back.
Yeah, he really just
Extremely.
blew him off the board.
Yeah, it's extremely impressive. He is completely in the zone. Quickly regained the momentum. We're going to see an annoying knight again for white. So black's on the back foot here, but some pieces are flowing into the position.
H4 pre-move. Wow. So, I think we've
White's
seen
winning?
something like this. Yes, we've seen this exact line before, right? Where Black lost that game with the bishop coming to g6.
Yeah,
and
white
knight
what's black
e8.
got here? Because isn't white just gonna cruise in here?
Let's see. Gravosin in the tank, that's not a good sign because
No.
we both think that this position is extremely dangerous for Black. He goes b6,
Yeah.
okay. What about bishop d3? Again, or rook g1. Those are two moves that come to my mind. Knight e8 as well, but I assume there's g6. He's looking at
This seems
h5, queen h4.
yeah. Yeah. Really dangerous. I still like white here. Oh, he just gives the queen. Okay. You have to take it, and then maybe push the pawn and bring the other. Okay. Bishop takes. Keep the knight
So
where it
it
is.
seems to me that Gravozin avoided immediate disaster,
Bishop
but
b5.
what do you? I still like
I
white.
actually, I don't know that he should have taken. My instinct was to take as well, but then I was wondering maybe bishop b5 was more accurate for white, just because there's no takes because then the dark square bishop hangs. Um, but I don't know for sure. I had the same instinct of bishop takes bishop, but maybe bishop b5 there was better.
So I would assume if white is able to move the king and bring the rook in, they're doing pretty well. But I guess if white moves the king, there's always going to be bishop e1.
Yes, have to. Do you
And what
go?
if
Do you
you
go?
take the rook? What do you think of that endgame? Is that just a technical win for white, or
It's not so clear. Um, he's going to go for it. He is going to go for
yeah.
it. I guess part of it is that part of the appeal of that is that your rook is. It's really difficult to do anything with your rook right now. I do actually wonder how you get him in the game. The bishop's going to do a great job restricting things for a while, but white should be able to make this happen.
This looks
He's going to
winning, no?
restrict.
Like king e2,
Yeah.
followed by a rook g1. You
Yeah,
push the
and
h pawn. I don't think black can hold this long term. I think you can try
bishop
with
c1.
bishop c1.
Yeah, he
Maybe
has to go
just
bishop
b3.
c1. Absolutely, or even b4. Even b4 is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
So
take. I would
maybe,
take with the b pawn, I think, but
and then b5, a4.
who takes with the d pawn? Okay.
Ah,
Now
okay.
black has to try d5 at some point, but it doesn't
Okay,
seem to
I would
make any.
think h6 to march that. Yeah, there we have it.
Yeah,
And I guess eventually you're gonna be able to move this rook around. But the bishop is gonna try to stop it for a little while. But I don't think
yeah,
you can
that's
hold
the
this
thing,
long
though.
term.
Yeah, that's the thing. The king's on a light square. The bishop has no targets, like any remotely close to forcing white's king to an error. So I think this is white's to take pretty
h7? Wait,
cleanly.
what does he have in mind? That it's just GG, no? He's
It's
gonna
just
try
GG.
to do the king thing, but
It's not
I don't
gonna.
think it's gonna work.
Definitely not.
That being said, it's
He's
always annoying when this king comes towards your own king.
Yeah, he has a couple different pawn hooks that he can utilize to get the king around. I actually was wondering if he should just take rook takes bishop there, just to get that one less thing to consider, and then lock the structure and do what we've seen a couple other times here before. Because that bishop could be more annoying having it on the board, but maybe he feels the rook is more helpful towards mating ideas.
All right, so this
Yeah,
is
this
really
is
the I don't even
over.
know how to call it, like the super
Yeah,
opposition or whatever that the kings are having right now, right? Sometimes we see them
yeah.
2 squares apart, but here they're just 1 square apart.
Yeah, they're making friendship bracelets together.
Exactly. But I think it's just going to be a matter of time until Henry wins this one, and we're gonna see overtime.
I believe so. I believe so. He's going to separate this here, and then the king runs, and the king can't keep track of him anymore. Very nice setup. I missed this move actually, but now the queen comes around. Yeah, okay, and the queen would come around and then finally give mate. Very nice.
Yep. So
Very nice.
great win by Henry as he ties up the match. It's 2-2, and we're going overtime. And does that mean that Gravozin will get the white pieces in that game? Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is tough. This is tough. I mean, so far, white has won every single game in the match. Can Henry break when it matters? We see, by the way, the same opening again. F3, roller G3, bishop H3. We'll probably see the queen sack. To me, this never looked that clear.
No, and what a cool line. What a cool idea. I've never seen this this concept with queen f3 before, so I love it. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Let's see what black's got cooked up here because I like what white's getting.
Yeah. To me, it's really interesting, though, that that pawn on f3 is worth so much that you just give up your queen. But hey, these players know the game of atomic. So
Hmm.
let's see. Black is looking at e takes f3. Those black arrows are Henry's. E takes f3, bishop
Hmm.
f5, then bishop d6. And
Bishop
that
f5.
is what we are seeing right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What an
Still, I
exciting
feel
match.
like
This is
I feel like
everything we
Black
could
has
hope
chances
for. A
here.
reset, going the distance. Love to see
Mhm.
it.
I feel like Black has chances here, though, right? I mean, even if White is better objectively, like Black is a queen, the White King
Yeah.
can be a little unsafe. I feel like this is anyone's game.
I agree. I agree. And I think we saw in one of these lines, didn't we see Black get active with the queen and win? Or maybe it was in time trouble.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Black won in the time scramble, yeah. So it goes to show that Black definitely can win from this position.
absolutely. Um, you get the feeling that we're more in White's wheelhouse, just prep wise, but Black can navigate this. And obviously, they're going to have a level of familiarity now, having played this line a few times themselves. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So this is it. Yeah. Let's see what Black is gonna do. White is up almost a minute on the clock. That is a big factor.
yeah, it really is. And this is for everything. Um, this is for all the marbles. We're in the reset. We've gone the full distance here for the Atomic Chess Championship here in 2026. Whoever wins this, if there's a winner in this one, wins the whole thing. I don't think we're going to see the first draw of the day. Or that's not the first draw of the day, because I saw some that we didn't catch. But we haven't caught one on camera yet, and I don't think we're going to see one yet on this game.
Yeah, Henry just dropped down to a minute. He's really gonna have to pick up the piece if he wants to win this one. I mean, feels like Ravosin is better on the board. Okay, he's allowing knight b4. I don't know about that. I thought maybe it should be stopped with a move like c3. But hey, what do I know? I mean, the question is really whether Black can make inroads with the queen. If he can, I think he has great chances. But if he can't, then it's not that easy.
Exactly.
Knight e2, tricky move.
Yeah, I'm wondering about what moves White wants for freeing the position themselves. Because I don't. He's thinking about Bishop D2, huh?
No, that was
Okay.
my arrow. No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was trying to. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, he's
This.
hitting the queen, but where do you go? Knight c3, but shouldn't this just be a winning endgame if you take the queen?
Yes. Yes, it should.
Unless Black can somehow cook up some tricks, but I don't see how.
Yeah.
This looks winning,
He's
just taking the
assessed.
queen, but hey, I mean, these players know
Uh,
better than I do. He does decide to take. He's also up a
yeah.
minute on the clock. Henry needs a miracle here to save himself.
He really does. I think maybe he was taking his time just to like really double check anything that there's no tricky concepts. Because I think he probably had the same reaction you and I did. That just looked like a gift to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't see how that rook does anything. I don't even see how that rook gets in anytime soon. White is going to reorganize their pieces, shuffle, slide in, and I think this is going to be curtains.
Especially
Wow.
because Black is down to 15 seconds on the clock. Bishop e8, typical atomic move, stopping the rook from entering.
Yes.
Um,
There goes
is
now the
Henry
king
gonna
is
get that
tied.
miracle here? I don't think so, but with this knight jumping around, you never know.
Yeah, I don't. I think the rook gets shut down here pretty quickly, and then White's queenside pieces flow in, and it's going to be curtains here. Oh, here this is also the other pawn can march.
Surprised he gave up the knight, but with rook f7 coming in, this has to be GG. Just
Yes,
have to make sure h7,
one
I
check.
thought.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but Black has no time, so it's gonna be a win for Gravozin. H7.
Yeah,
Ooh, I almost hung. I almost
Mm,
hung that.
time.
He
Yeah,
gets it
there it is.
done.
And we have our champion. Very
Mhm.
impressive. Wow.
Yes. So congratulations to Gravozin, who made an impressive comeback, winning the grand final 3-0, and then also won the reset. So amazing stuff by him. In the meantime, by the way, thank you to Matt Henningsen for the raid. He came in at a great time as he saw Andre Volgin winning the Chess.com Atomic Championship. What a comeback.
Huge comeback. And don't go anywhere, guys. After our quick break, we're going to be getting our winner in for an interview.
Yeah, no, but really impressive stuff. I mean, really, I was very impressed how he won that match 3-0.
Okay, so I'll show an opening called the Ruy Lopez. It starts when we take this guy in front of our king. This is our king. And we're taking, these are like the foot soldiers. They're the weakest guys on the board, the ones that we can most easily sacrifice, so we kind of throw them forward immediately, although we don't always want to give them away. And then black just does the same thing. So same idea, copying us. And now we take this guy out, our horse, should I say horse?
Yeah.
And then he is attacking this guy right in front. So basically, if our opponent doesn't do anything, then we're just going to, next move, just take it off the board. And then we're going to have more material. So our opponent is probably going to not copy us, but they're probably going to try to stop us from doing that. So they're going to kind of mirror us, and they're going to take their horse out, which it doesn't threaten us, but it makes sure that we can't, if we take this guy, then we lose our horse, and we don't want to do that because this is much better than these guys. This is really important. So we want to keep those, and we want to make sure that this horse is really not comfortable. So we take this guy out, and then we slide him along. These guys can go really far, so he goes almost the whole board, and now he's looking right at him, and there's nowhere for that horse to go, really. So it's, we can take it next move if we want. There's pretty much no escape, and that's the Ruy Lopez.
Oh wow.
Are we sure the bishop is on d1 and not a4?
Yeah, it's on d1.
Okay.
Correct.
Like, I'm just curious as to what the opening came from. Like, white has lost the rook, and white is actually just down on exchange. Okay.
Queen takes f6. Black can capture it in two ways or go back. Back is just mate in one. Knight takes e6 with the pin. Bishop takes f6, also mate in one, same way. Bishop covers f8, rook on the e-file. And so the most tenacious is knight takes f6. Knight fg5. Leaves only one move for the king to go, to e8. And then knight takes f6 with a pin. The knight also covers d7. The knight covers f7 and bishop f8, and nowhere to go.
Amazing.
If you just ask me for the best move, then it would be a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
The fastest, easiest way to improve your chess is now the most fun way to improve your chess. Chess.com's brand new puzzles now have loads of exciting features to make solving a joy. Earn points and race your friends across puzzle tiers from wood to bronze, all the way to legend. Rack up bonuses for streaks, for speed, for accuracy, for daily solving, difficulty, and more. And now, you can get feedback from Coach while solving puzzles. Coach lets you know what each puzzle's goal is and why a move doesn't actually work. And, as always, puzzles will be selected just for your level from our database of hundreds of thousands of high-quality, beautiful, brilliant, and instructive puzzles. So what are you waiting for? Try puzzles today on web, Android, or iOS, and have a blast leveling up your chess.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Atomic Championships here in 26. We are not able to get our winner on for an interview. Obviously he's very happy. We're sorry about that. But what a journey it was. He came all the way back from the losers bracket. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It absolutely was a lot of fun, yeah, and he really had some amazing play. I mean, I think he was definitely the deserving winner. I think Henry, though, deserving second place finisher. I mean, he won in the winner's final, but he really showed some amazing play in that grand final. I mean, definitely the grand final where he won 3-0 was, he definitely made a statement there.
It was incredibly impressive. Once he gained that momentum, it took everything for Henry just to take a couple games off him and try to right the ship, but by then it was too late in that reset. And you know, we had a lot of great players here today, known figures, been going back for years in the Atomic community. Some great players following us in chat as well, so thank you to everybody who was out there. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing these and being with you, Benjamin. There's a lot of fun today. We're going to be streaming a lot more content here on the channel, so we're looking forward to seeing everybody in future streams.
Yep, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.